Very good morning. Professor Casey sir, are you online?
Yes, I am online.
Okay. Very good morning to one and all. IIC Council of AVC College of Engineering welcomes all the participants, guest speaker, principal, heads of various departments, and IIC members of AVC College of Engineering for the Impact Lecture Series on Design Thinking. Very good morning to one and all. Actually, the IIC Council has been established by the Government of India in the year of 2018. We have joined in this IIC Council in the year 2019, and the objective of this program is to promote the innovation, incubation, startup, entrepreneurship, design thinking through faculty members as well as students. So one of the agenda with respect to the central government is Smart India Hackathon. Smart India Hackathon as well as idea thinking. These are the two major events across India. The program has been, the event has been conducted, and it has been successfully conducted, and most of the students got benefited. Our institution has joined with the Smart India Hackathon actually right from the year 2017 onwards, and after that, once IIC Council has been incepted, it has been comes under the IIC. So right from the 2017 onwards, Smart India Hackathon, our students have participated up to the grand finale, and by 2020, our institution students won the first prize in the Smart India Hackathon event. So the idea is to promote innovation across the young mindset, budding engineers to the next level. So accordingly, I welcome the man of kind-hearted, the distinguished professor, Professor Dr. K. Chandrasekharan, Professor, Higher Academic Grade, Department of CSC, NIT Surathkal, Mangalore, who accepted our invitation to be a part to have the session for the today's forenoon session. Actually, when I approached the sir a few days back, he has given his acceptance, and he has given okay, if you is enough, or if you want any other speaker. So that kind of support, whenever I approached the professor sir, he has given his expertise as well as support in all aspects with respect to the academic. So I welcome our professor.
Papa Kekida, hello.
Yes, Professor Dr. Casey sir, for this. Mr. Edwin, please mute yourself. Okay. Welcome our Professor Dr. Casey sir for this event, IAC event. So with respect to Professor, sir is having wide experience, 35 years of experience in NIT Surathkal, and sir has guided 20 PhD scholars, and 4 are in verge of completion of PhD, and sir is a recipient of various academic awards, and sir has published nearly 434 papers in various articles in various journals, and his site, when I gone through his citation through Google Scholar, his citation is around 3,392 citations, and with the H index of 24 and the I-10 index of 84, and having a very good academic experience, and he is specialized in cloud computing and editor, IEEE editor in cloud computing area. So welcome Professor Dr. Casey sir for this session on design thinking. And it's my pleasure to welcome our principal, Dr. C. Sundaraj sir, who always support in all the activities across the departments of AVC College of Engineering. Sir accepted to propose the inaugural address for this AEC sponsored Impact Lecture Series. Welcome you, sir. And it's my duty to welcome the heads of various departments who have supported us in all aspects by organizing various events under the IAC cell. I welcome all the heads and the directors of our institution. I welcome the members of IAC team who are always supported me and organizing various events whenever we are promoting various IAC events. So by 2019, we got a 4-star rating. By 2020, we got a 2-star rating. Again, we have to promote, we have to move to achieve 4 or 5-star rating with respect to IAC with the help of the faculty members as well as the IAC team. It's my duty to welcome the participants. They are the backbone of this event. Very good responses. Day before yesterday only, we launched the event for WhatsApp as well as various other social media, and nearly 400 participants has given their registration across India. Participants from West Bengal, participants from Punjab, participants from Karnataka, participants from Andhra, across India. Nearly 400 participants have registered for this event. Actually, the forenoon session from 10 to 11:30. After completing the forenoon session, there will be a short feedback as well as the assessment based on the forenoon session. And afternoon, we can have another session like fostering innovation and entrepreneurship in India by Dr. Vichita Cha, who is a IPR consultant as well as IPR advisor of IIM Udaipur. So I request all the participants to take part in both the events. If anybody find difficult, since with respect to Google Meet, only 100 participants can be able to join. If you find any difficult to join with the Google Meet, you can also join with the help of YouTube. YouTube link is also provided to you all, so you can make use of this. And definitely the session will be eye opener for all the faculty members as well as the young budding engineers, those who are attending this session. So welcome you once again. I welcome one and all for this forum. Thank you. Now I request our principal to deliver the inaugural address. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Pradeep.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So once again, I welcome Dr. Chandrasekhar, who is the speaker of today from NIT Surathkal, and my dear colleagues and the participants. See, for this IIC sponsored Impact Lecture Series, the topic is on design thinking. Innovative design thinking, that is new design ideas, are very much needed in today's scenario, because it has already been developed. I can point out one thing. Automobiles, that is the IC engines, have been invented in 1800s, but it has come into picture only in 1923 in India. I think in 1923, Fiat has launched his first passenger vehicle at Pune. That is Fiat. Then afterwards, some 4 or 5 years back, Ambassador had come and it has been launched in Kolkata. So these two vehicles, model and everything, have not been changed until the year 1985. So from 1923 to 1985, around 60 years, there is no change in the design. For example, Ambassador, if you had taken Ambassador Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4 and Nova. And what is the main change in that design? If you see that the headlight design will be changed from round, some shape will be changed. And similarly, the tail lamp round and oval shape will be changed. Other than that, there will be no change in the design aspect. But after Mr. Sanjay Gandhi had taken into power, global ideas had been come into picture. Then Suzuki had come into this, and after that only we can find out a lot of changes in the automobile sector. That is, the design oriented, the flexible design had come into picture. So the passenger will ask, I want power steering. Then the power steering will be there. I want power window. Then power window will be there. So like that, the innovative designs will make the change. Now, if you consider the Maruti alone, how many variants are there? Petrol variant and diesel variant. And apart from that, there are so many models, and that shows the improvement in the design. So innovative design is the main thing, and it should be shown to the world, because the young peoples are having a lot of innovative ideas, and it is brought into the world, then they may become a popular person's future. So that is the main theme for this IIC lecture series. I think the participants will also make use of this opportunity. Dr. Chandrasekhar, a great person, is now here, and Dr. Pradeep had already told about him. When he was in Singapore, he met him, and he brought him back, and how better he has arranged for a temple visit at Udupi. So all the things he has narrated to me. So such a kind person and also intelligent person is here, and I hope his knowledge will be better used by our participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Professor, sir, it is your time. You can take up the session, sir.
Okay.
You are most welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, good morning to all of you. At the outset, I thank Dr. Pradeep, Professor Pradeep, for asking me to give a session in this virtual impact lecture series 1. I myself proposed the topic design thinking, because I have already talked about design thinking in various fields, particularly in computer science, to my own students in my regular classes. I have also developed material, design thinking in outcome-based education. So today people talk about MBA, and many colleges are undergoing accreditation process. So how do you utilize the concept of design thinking in OBE? So that ideas are also there, and partially I have implemented in my own teaching learning process. So with this background, when Pradeep approached me, I said I'll be more comfortable with the design thinking, and therefore, so design thinking is our talk. So thanking the college management administration of AVC College of Engineering at Mayiladuthurai. I take the pride of giving the lecture on design thinking. So I'll now share the slides. So if you have any difficulty, please let me know so that I'll be able to. Is the slides visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, someone of you will have to respond to me, because I may not be with the full screen mode. No, I cannot see any one of you. Please respond to my voice. so that I'll be able to interactively talking to you. So design thinking is our topic, and this is the agenda. So we will look at the meaning of design and design thinking with a simple understanding, and design thinking, what it is. So a detailed note, we will look at it. And then what are the stages of looking for the implementation of design thinking. We will try to look at a case study, which is of my favorite. And design thinking, how it has changed, the social needs, societal needs. So that also we will look at with some examples. And what all the research that's going on in design thinking, that also we'll try to mention briefly, and thereafter the summary. So this is how our discussion is going to be in this session. So again, I'm asking you, the slides are visible to you. The present slide is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, design versus design thinking.
Yeah. Please. Thank you. So design is many people first time people know when they hear the word design thinking, they may get confused. How is this design different from design thinking? So we should clarify that first before getting into design thinking. So in that sense, this slide and a few more slides do talk about the differences between design and design thinking. So every one of us is basically a designer. You just tell about a problem, we will try to tell a solution. So if I'm at Mangalore, so if I think I have to go to Mayiladuthurai, or earlier name is Mayavaram in Tamil Nadu. So if I have to go to Mayavaram, I know the route. So where to catch the bus, where to catch the train. So a problem is given, a solution is also found. So everyone is basically a designer. But none of us know, in my personal opinion, is a design thinking person. Design thinking, what it is, that's what we are going to discuss. And at the end, you also will say that the design thinking, we can also do it, however. So that's what you are also going to say. But right now, you may imagine that you are not a design thinking.
Sir, sorry for the interruption. Sir, can you go with the full screen mode, sir?
Is it not full screen?
Yes, sir. Can share full screen.
Yeah.
Share with full screen.
I'll do that. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So every one of us is the designer, but not design thinking person. So that is what we said just now. So just we think of a problem, we will try to tell a solution. So this solution could be an ad hoc approach, or it can be an engineering approach, as though we have designed the solution. As the designer, we can tell the solution. I just now said going from Mangalore to Mayiladuthurai. So Mangalore is in west coast and Mayiladuthurai is in east coast. So there are several ways to travel from here to there. So we will try to tell the solution. But none of us we would have thought about a solution which is based on what is called design thinking. So right now, I understand you are asking what is design thinking. I will not tell the answer right now. That's the course of this session. So so another example that I'm going to use in this entire journey of this session is preparing sambar. So sambar is known to everyone in the South India. Since I am also sitting in Karnataka, South India, I am using the word sambar as an example case study. So if somebody asks you how to prepare sambar, everyone will be telling different ideas. So to understand this case study, I have prepared some 6 groups of people. So you might have seen in all TV channels, this kitchen competition, either as a comedy or as a competition, you would have seen. So I'm also making some 6 groups of people. Let me assume that there are 6 groups with me, and in each group there are 3 people, and who are all asked to prepare sambar. Now first let me narrate the case study preparation of sambar with these 6 groups. Can you hear me? Are you hearing me? Any difficulty?
Sir, your voice is clear, sir.
Okay.
No difficulty.
Okay. So, so the first group, I'm not just narrating the characteristic feature of this first group. This first group just have heard about about it. What is sambar? That much only they know. Second group, they have heard about it. They have also tasted it. Third group, none of them they have heard about what is sambar. They have also not tasted that. And fourth group and the fifth group, they are experts in preparing sambar. And the sixth group is totally new. Nothing is known about sambar. They are hearing the word sambar for the first time. So like that, we have 6 groups. So how are these 6 groups going to work? Based on what is called design thinking. That is our case study. That is what the journey of this session is. So I know many of you or most of you will be liking the sambar, which may be available in your own region. So whether you like it or not, I like sambar, and therefore I have taken the case study of preparing sambar as the design thinking example. So in order to understand the differences between design and design thinking, we should know a little on what is called design. So let us look at what is called design. A design is a plan or specification for the construction of an object or the system, or for the implementation of an activity or process, or the result of that plan or specification in the form of a prototype or product or process. So this is the definition given by Wikipedia. So what is design? You have to have a mechanism, a methodology, an approach, and that approach may be available verbally or based on some specification procedure, or in the form of a prototype, or in the form of a description. So that is called a design. So if you look at the design of sambar in YouTube, they've said there are several chefs who would have said this is how you can prepare sambar. So if you prepare the sambar based on the chef's description of Karnataka region based people, they would have told you one way. If you have heard the chefs preparing sambar in Tamil Nadu, they would have told you in one other way. So in that way, there are several design phases, design specifications, design procedures, which would have been uttered by different design people. So they are all experts. So typically, and design, whenever, since most of us are academicians, when we say design, we try to follow an engineering model. So it is a problem solving model or problem oriented model. So in this problem oriented solutions, you imagine about the problem, plan the solution, then create a solution, maybe by means of mathematical model or simulation model, and then experiment it or simulate it, and then you may try to improve it. This is called optimization, and then share that solution to somebody, and therefore you can take off with that solution to the real world. So this is how an engineering model that's been addressed with the help of what is called design. So what we do here, we try to address what is called design. So design is carried out with the understanding on solving the problem given to us. So this is called design, pictorially being explained. Then what is design thinking? So design thinking is a buzzword nowadays. Nowadays everybody talks about design thinking. Courses like this one session, morning session course, there are 1-day courses, there are 1-week courses, there are several such options available for any new learner. Courses can give insights into the design thinking process, but no one will tell you the practicing of it. This is the underlying point. I can also talk about thinking process. Everybody can hear talk about thinking process, design thinking process, but none of those speakers will tell you how to practice it. So that practicing should come from self. So that self only I am trying to address using the case study called sambar, because everyone knows the sambar, and that's why I have taken that example as the design thinking process implementation, practicing. So design thinking, one more interesting point here to note is design thinking is actually not a quick fix kind of solution to any problem. So if you think design thinking will immediately give me a solution for this problem, which I could not address using the conventional traditional design process. So if you think that, you are wrong, totally wrong. So design thinking is not a solution based approach which gives you a permanent or a static or a dynamic solution. So it is just a thinking process, a conceptual mindset. So in order to give some more understanding on what is called a design thinking, I can tell you a traditional understanding in India that we have. You must be knowing, many of you might have experienced this. So if you see somebody preparing or doing something, and if you don't like that attitude of preparing or doing, you would what normally people Indians would say. We would say, had it been me, I would have done in this way. I would have done in that way. Like that you would tell. Is it not? Yes or no? I want some answer from you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So since you are saying yes, sir, the answer design thinking is also yes. So the mindset, the conceptual understanding of how differently we will be able to do that same thing is design thinking. So it is not the solution itself. It is the pathway towards getting a solution, which is totally different from what has been done already. So in that way, design thinking is not a quick fix for any problem. So if you look at the slides literature of design thinking, they would have used a typical terminology to address a problem called wicked problem. Wicked problem means complex problem. People normally use this complex problem based solutions in the industry. Whereas in my addressing, since I have taken sambar as an example, I'm not using that word wicked or complex problem. It's a simple problem. Preparing sambar, anyone can do that. But how differently we are going to do with the help of design thinking is the case study, which is the journey of this session. So design thinking is not a quick fix for any given problem. So design thinking is need oriented. So therefore we say design thinking does not focus on the technical problem, but focuses on the user side of a yet to be invented solution that meets the user's needs optimally. So therefore we say design thinking is the process, a mental process, which is need oriented, customer oriented, user driven approach. So at the end of this design thinking application, we will be able to get a solution. That is the understanding that we need to get. So design thinking basically is the mindset. So the process of solving the problems is human centered. So you must be knowing one more example that we can say design thinking based cinema theaters today in India. So the conventional, traditional, I remember my own good old days of seeing movies in my village. So we used to go to cinema theaters and buy 50 paisa or 1 rupee ticket, sit on the sand and lift your neck towards the screen, which is just in front of you. So you will have neck pain when you come out of the cinema theater after seeing the movie. So that kind of days all have gone. All the theaters today have been modernized with different kinds of better solutions, modified modern solutions. There are theaters in new kinds of cinema halls wherein you can just lay down, and side by side there are locations wherein you can keep your popcorn, coffee, tea, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all that, drink and eat and then watch the movie. Side by side you can also sleep if the movie is boring. Such solutions are based on what is called design thinking. So our respected principal, Professor Sundarraj, also told the evolution of the different car models, from ambassador car model, Fiat car model to modern Kia car model. You must be knowing. So in the cities you might have seen the top portion of the cars are open. Either you would see a small baby peeping out and looking around, or a dog. So you must be wondering, okay, this dog is a very lucky dog which can travel in the Kia car and look at the entire world traveling in that car. So that way, there are many different modified newer varieties of solutions, and all such solutions have come to the reality because of this design thinking. So we will look at the design thinking process for preparing sambar in the short while. So we go back to understand the design and the issues related to the design. There can be some technical solutions which may not work at all, but our problems are actually simple. So you might have seen there are solutions and those problems are very simple, and but the solutions that are given to solve those problems, they are not working properly. So that may be one of the disadvantage of directly making use of the design studies that people know already. There is a solution, but we are not interested in that solution. It may be because it is highly irritating due to bad design. So you can think of the solutions that are already available around us as the case studies for this. Later in the next slide, I'm going to tell some examples of this nature. All due to the thinking behind or the design thinking has been problem oriented, not user oriented. So all these solutions, in the first bullet we said those problems are not at all working properly. In the second bullet we said the solution is working properly, but the users are not interested because they are all irritating solutions. And therefore, these solutions have been prepared looking at the problem solving approach, not the user orientation, user need based approach. And therefore, the design solutions have met the failure. So examples of such bad design. So I have not used the BAD. It can be even replacing GOOD, good design also. Some people may even like it. Governmental websites. How many of you like the governmental websites? If you are submitting your online income tax filing, then you know the difficulties of filing the things and the governmental websites. And it's true not only for central government, even the state governments. Their websites for different things. Electronic appliances that you cannot operate without studying the manual. At least if you remember your good old days, along with the electronic appliances, there used to be manuals. Some printed manuals people used to supply, and by reading that you will be able to operate that. But today you don't have even manuals. You cannot even get it from online. So you will have to depend on the service engineers. You have to call them, and every time they give some international free call number, and you have to call them. Nobody will pick that call. You have to get irritation, and finally you will try pressing multiple buttons on your own. Something will work, something will get destroyed, and therefore again you call that person. That's how the status of electronic appliances nowadays. For your kind information, just as a joke, I'm telling you, I don't use the washing machine in my own house. So my wife, my daughter, they use, because I don't know what all the buttons, what for they are kept on the front panel. I don't know that. So this may be the true for many different people while using the electronic appliances of modern days. The third example is a very notorious example in our country: ticketing systems in railway public transport. Can you imagine if you want to rush through the railway ticketing system and get into a train which is just having 2 minutes to depart? It's that is impossible in India in any railway station that you will get the ticket or booking, then get into the train. So ticketing systems in railway is the bad design. Another interesting and more notorious example is water electricity distribution system. I have been there here in NIT Surathkal. This is my 35th year. As Professor Pradeep said, I have traveled across all cities in country. In every city I visit, the water which leaks from the main roads, is more common. And during summer, everybody will cry. There is water shortage, and electricity shortage. So why this problem came into existence? Why people could not solve that? No idea. Because they are all existing because of the conventional, traditional design. No one has shown interest in designing the water or electricity distribution system in our country based on design thinking. So we are all living with such systems only. So that is our fate, what to do. It's not only in our country, in most of other countries also, this is the similar situation. So don't blame our own government. It's the situation in even in other countries also. So these are all the examples of the conventional, traditional design, which need to be improved based on what is called design thinking. So when you want to move from design to design thinking, this picture clearly tells you how the moving transition can happen. So if you think about the design, so the design normally occurs based on the design expert, the individuals, and this expert develops a product, and that production is based on engineering, some artistic design, all that would have gone inside. So this is how the design comes into picture in terms of products to all of us. Whereas the design thinking, the thinking would have gone into the production unit. So the thinking does not come from an individual, it comes from the teams. So the design thinking, the core of this design thinking is the teams, multiple people, and their experiences. Each one would have got their own experience. And it is not only the technology, engineering and art, it is also how to do the business after you produce the product, and how the human who are the users, customers, would like to use that product. So based on these three entities, your design thinking is basically going to be. So in that way, the transition from design to design thinking is really a tedious one, though this picture tells you it's a simple matter. It's coming to my mind because, as Professor Pradeep said, I'm one of the experts in cloud computing. So when the cloud computing came into existence, many people were trying to move from the traditional client server based computing to the cloud computing based solutions. So moving traditional client server computing based solutions to the cloud computing based solutions is not completely done even today. So though there are claims from different companies like IBM, Google, Microsoft, and so on, they have claims their own ways, approaches, and the solution is not fully available to a common man. Like if you have developed this PPT, and from your server to port it to a cloud server of your own, it's not that easy. So there are several intricacies involved in that. So in that similar manner, transiting from design to design thinking has many more things to be considered, and that and all will be discussed later in the domain of what is called research. So design is too important to be left to designers. This is what told by the researcher Raymond. So we will leave the design at this point of time. So we are leaving the design, we are moving on to design thinking. So let us move on to design thinking. So design thinking, DT, is the short form of design thinking, being used by many companies now. You take any company, not only the MNCs, also in the companies of Indian origin, like Infosys, Wipro, and many more, have been using design thinking. If you have associated yourself with the placement training in your college or your university, you would have heard people who come to recruit your students would have been asking here and there the meaning of design thinking. What do you mean by that? How do you apply that, and so on. So most of the companies today make use of what is called a design thinking. And it's not only for the students, it is for us also. You and me, the conventional, traditional teachers, also will have to make use of what is called a design thinking, and we have to develop the design thinking skills. And one of the criterion for design thinking is the fast changes in the life. You must be knowing today everyone is in the fast moving world. So fast moving world means when you go to bus stop, so the bus should come moment you reach the bus stop. And moment you reach the bus stop, bus should come, and you should only be boarding the bus. And once you boarded the bus, no, bus should leave. So it should not wait for all others who are waiting in the bus stop to board. So like that, you get a mindset. So that is how the fast changes in life. There are three yes that contribute to the fast changes in the life, which also contribute to the design thinking. The first one is scale. To our country, the scaling is very much important. When you develop a solution for 10 people, how many people, for example, you would have imagined Aadhaar card and PAN card linking. So do you know how many times the server crashed in this Aadhaar card, PAN card linking? So the server was not designed to the scale of our population. So Aadhaar card, and that's why most of the people go to some other help. So scaling is an important solution. So when you think of a solution, that single solution may not be able to cater into the needs of all people. So this is the slogan of what is called design thinking. So scaling is an important issue which is required to be understood. And you must be knowing, if you are a cloud computing or distributed computing or parallel computing person, you know the meaning of scalability issues. Scalable solutions are very much important for meeting the fast changes, because the world is growing fast, population is also moving ahead, and even if you don't consider population, you think each individual in this meeting, each one of us must be having minimum two mobiles. One mobile for the household talking, another mobile for the institute or the department hold purpose. And to my surprise, in each mobile there may be two SIMs. So one SIM in that for a specific purpose, another SIM for some other specific purpose. Like that, the scalability can be addressed from any different viewpoint, angle. So scalability is an important issue which motivated us to think towards design thinking. Scope. What is scope? Today, the scope of 10 to 11:30 is making you to understand design thinking. That's the scope for me. For you, what is the scope? Somehow, whether he tells, that is me telling you about design thinking or not, you should be able to capture something on design thinking. Remember, this scope I have got it changed because of my design thinking. What is that design thinking that has gone inside my mind in order to make you to understand? That is the scope. So I took the example of sambar. So whether you like it or not, all of India, whole of India knows what is sambar. So sambar, if I tell as an example of design thinking, all you will appreciate. That's why my design thinking has gone inside me, and I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you about the design thinking of preparing sambar. That's how the scope varies from person to person, domain to domain, interest to interest. Speed. The speed is most important today. None of us, we can sit in front of the terminal for internet connection even for more than 1 minute or 1 second. So immediately what would you say? The internet connection is not available. So that's what the answer is going to be. The speed with which you try to do, you get the solutions is most important today. So that is wow, the scale, scope, speed, all these three S's are more important with respect to defining, getting what is called design thinking. So far so good. Any questions now? Anybody trying to tell anything among the audience? Hello, am I audible to you?
Participants, please respond.
Anyone has anything to tell me? I'm not finding anything. Okay.
No, sir.
No, I don't want yes, sir, madam. I want your response. Anything to be asked at this point of time?
No, sir. At this stage, no doubt, sir.
Okay. Nice of you. Thank you. So we'll move to the next slide.
Okay,
So,
sir.
so design thinking. So we are looking at design thinking. So we are moving to do a design thinking. So a well-designed product is the one that you all love and would use. This is what being said. by somebody. So that somebody's photo I have put here. Do you know who is she? Anyone says her name?
Indra Nooyi.
Indra Nooyi, sir.
Indira Nooyi. So she is so popular because of what? Because of her practicing of design thinking in her company called Pepsi. Is it not? So Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all that have become in the forefront of everybody's life, particularly youngsters' life, because of that design thinking that had got into her. Right now, she is not working for Pepsi. She is working for some other company, which you can Google it and find out. So where from she is? Indira Nooyi.
Chennai, sir.
Oh, nice of you. Okay, so you are from Chennai, and that's why you are saying she is also from Chennai. Okay, so the real meaning of design thinking is given in the double quote here. A well-designed product is one you fall in love with. This is what she told when Pepsi came into the commercial market with very rigorous marketing strategies. So design thinking. So now we are in the process of understanding what is design thinking. So design thinking, what is it? So design thinking, it's an approach tied to the observation, analysis, research, all the things we need to do as a designer to solve a problem. So a problem is given, and what is the design thinking there? We need to observe, we need to analyze, we need to do some research. When we do all these things together, we will try to get a solution, and that solution is what is called design thinking. Thereafter, you have to translate that design thinking into the design or in the form of a product. Only then you will be a successful person in launching that product. So that is what a design thinking. The challenge today is that many of the problems we solve have become more complex. So if you think about a drinking water problem in a village or urban area was very small, minimal in those days. But today it has become very complex. So no municipal corporation could solve that problem of drinking water completely in India particularly. Why? Because of that 3 S's, you remember we said in the one of the previous slides. So goals and the scope and the tricky solutions have increased the risks of attempting that solutions. So we need to satisfy the customers. So when you think about a solution, we need to satisfy the customers. You might have seen, particularly in summer season, not only in south, also in north of India, you would have seen the public of a particular city or every city, many cities would come to the main road and make a dharna for getting drinking water. Why is it happening? Because those people, their requirements have not been addressed by any people. So what is that addressing of those customers? It is design thinking. So the solutions were there, but those solutions are not based on design thinking. Those are all a traditional set of decisions. So traditional design will not be helpful. So that is what the conclusion of understanding design thinking. Then what is that design thinking? It is a solution that you need to mentally think based on what is called observation, analysis, and research. And that is, design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people and the possibilities of technology and the requirements of business success. So this is what the fruitful definition of design thinking. So it is a mental process, or it can even be a solution, but that solution should be human-centered solution, not the designer-based solution. It should not be a problem-centered solution. It should be a human-centered solution. We can make use of different varieties of technology. We also need to look at the success of the business so that the business gets profit. No one is doing business for the loss. So that is the definition of design thinking. So how does an organization keep its products relevant, engagement, and meaningful to take care of its customers? So So to help meet these challenges, an approach known as design thinking is playing a greater role in finding a meaningful pathways. Its process and tools are increasingly being adopted in organizational innovation initiatives. So design thinking is a human-focused, customer-centric, prototype-driven, innovative design process. So design thinking has been defined. So what are the steps? What are the pathways, stages, steps in design thinking? So this 5-stage or 5-step approach is proposed by Stanford University. So it's called traditionally Stanford model. So first step, what does it say? Empathize. Empathize means what? To create meaningful innovations, you need to know who are your users and what do they want. So like, so you need to have a group of people for brainstorming and discussing various issues and how to get a solution and so on. So you have to empathize the different issues related to a solution. Define. Once you get into the discussions, you will finally be able to identify and define what should be the right problem that we are trying to address now. So maybe you can say at the first stage, you do not know what is the problem at all. For example, again, you think about the water distribution in our municipal corporation. You must be knowing this is very common in India. First day, somebody will come and do the concretizing the roads. Second day, somebody will come and dig the concrete, break the concrete to put the water pipeline or the electricity pipeline or something. So the understanding on this is they don't know what is the problem. So without understanding what is really required for the customers, the citizens living in that road, first person comes and puts. So yesterday or day before yesterday, it came in WhatsApp. Those people who live in Tamil Nadu must be knowing. Because of some VIP visiting the city called Vellore in North Arcot district or Vellore district now. So even the motorbike was on the road, the concretization was done. This is how our design-based solutions have been arrived at. Whereas design thinking-based solutions would not have been like that. So you need to discuss, you need to decide and define what is the right problem and how will we go about in creating a right solution. Then you should try to get multiple ideas. It is not that, see, remember in the designer based problem oriented solutions, the designer what he thinks, that's final solution. Whereas in design thinking, it is not true. In design thinking, there may be multiple solutions. And you also can get prototype. Prototype means a miniature product can be developed. And finally test that whether it is satisfying the customers or not. Once this prototyping and testing have been completed, then you can go for a full-fledged product design. So this is how the different stages of design thinking that were proposed by Stanford model. So there are 10 principles of design thinking. So is action oriented, supports change, focuses on the human, so develops foresight, is dynamic and iterative, promotes empathy and reduces risk, creates shared meaning and relies on the adaptable process, combines logic and creativity. So we can talk hours together on all these things and we can give examples on all of these things. However, I'm just skipping that because we have to talk more on what is called somber. So the principles of design thinking, I'm just skipping. One second. So these are all the examples of design thinking. You must be knowing the traditional laptops. So today, do you think anyone carries that traditional laptop which would be weighing 2 to 3 kgs? No one. There are companies which have come with laptops of various models, lightweight, portable, plug and play. So you must be knowing what is that I have? Microsoft Surface. The keyboard you can attach with magnet. charging unit, you can attach it with magnet, and so on. So there are multiple examples of design thinking possible. So this is the laptop which everyone knows. The car wheels, you can compare those car wheels of ambassador cars, which our respected principals have said. Think about the models of the cars, wheels of the cars. Have you seen somebody sleeping like this in India? Most of the people, including you and me, we would be sleeping by raising our hand towards either north or south or left or right and so on. So if you can design a pillow like this, is it not a design thinking? It is design thinking. So you must be knowing. You might have also seen a similar product. Some people who are traveling, will be having a neck support only for the neck, because most of the seating arrangements in the train, bus, flights, they don't have support for your neck. So people carry that neck support with them while traveling. So in that way, there are multiple examples of design thinking which have come to the market and attract multiple customers, and that's why they are all more known to the public. So if you look at the websites, Google, for more examples, they will tell about multiple such websites like Airbnb and many more, which I'm avoiding and all that. So whatever has not been told in traditional Google search outcomes, I'm telling you that. 1 second. So design thinking process is this. So empathize is nothing but you have the diverse solutions, different people talking about the different solutions, and finally you have to define, and that is called convergence. And again, you get the ideas of how to develop the solution, again diverge, and then again prototyping and testing tells you the convergence. So in that way, the design challenge to the design solution is the pathway for design thinking process. So here, so this diamond shape tells you from a single concept to multiple concepts, and from multiple concepts to a single concept. So this emergence from here to here, the transition from here to here is so difficult. It's not that easy in reality. So you'll have to get that. So how will you get that? That requires more design thinking skills. See, this is what the thread. So when you have a thread which is totally bound with multiple challenges, how will you remove that multiple challenges and get into an actual portion of the thread which may be useful to you is what is called design thinking. So the problem space is more and more problem oriented, not design oriented, and we need to think in terms of users and their convenience. So that convenience only is being obtained here as the solution. So these two are the pictorial understanding of design thinking process. Now design thinking branding, what does it mean? What I want to say here is, if you look at the earlier slide, the previous slides, that is this. These 5 stages have been proposed by Stanford, and therefore people say this is Stanford model. However, multiple companies, they have branded their own way of implementing design thinking in their companies. So there is something called a design thinkers group. So this group, like this I'm telling you, like IEEE, IETE, CSI, and so many forums, this the design thinkers group, you can also become member. Stanford Design School is the one that has said those 5 stages, and ADO is a company which uses these terminologies: gather, generate, make, share, and their own version 2 is telling you inspiration, ideation, implementation. Luma Institute, IBM, FSU Innovation Hub. So these people tell different terminologies. It's not that only they can use these terminologies. You can also think and tell your own Indian brand of design thinking. And remember, most of the work in industry while making the products, the tools will be used, and the tools would be based on certain methodologies. So for each company, they have developed their own tools. So what are those tools? For example, if you are in this phase, empathize phase, you have to think about what are the design challenges. How will you get those challenges available from multiple customers? How will you map those challenges with the stakeholders? For example, if I think about OBE, outcome-based education. So I'm saying teaching learning process must be based on outcome-based education. Who are the stakeholders for me? It is the students and the parents, alumni, and so on. So how will I map those challenges to those stakeholders? So I should do that. And then context mapping, and then the road mapping, and then ethnographical research. So in that way, there are multiple methods that are available to gather the ideas of the different people who are there in this group. So in that way, there are multiple activities that are possible, and there are online tools available for this purpose. I am not going to discuss anything about those tools that are available online for each of these activities. Similarly, for defining or reframing, there are tools. Similarly, for getting the ideas gathered, there are multiple tools. Prototyping and testing, there are multiple tools. And remember, these are all the general names of those tools that are available in each of these phases. And when you go to a particular company, brand, they have developed their own tools and making use of that. Some of them are available in the open source, some of them are not available in the open source. So now we will try to think about the design thinking in general based on the Stanford model. Stanford model is the worldwide accepted standard definition, and we will look at how to use our case study preparing Sambar. That is what design thinking. So what is the first stage in our design thinking is empathize. So let us try to understand what is empathize, why this is required, and how to do that. So what is empathize? To identify or to understand what others see, feel, and experience. So we said, if you remember, in the Sambar preparation, so I'm now, what is that doing? I'm just trying to describe what is empathization and how the group, the sixth group in our case study, which is totally new to the word Sambar, and how will they prepare Sambar, and how will they use design thinking. So this is what I am describing. I have not prepared any slide because I am an expert of preparing Sambar. I don't want any slide for telling this example. So I am describing that activity. So there are 6 groups. I am just recalling. There are 6 groups. The first group just heard about what is Sambar. What they would do in empathizing activity, they will go to Google search. Google, what does it say? Sambar. So if you search from India, Sambar will come from Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka, and so on. Kerala also from other parts of India. If you are from America, there may be some famous hotels which would be preparing Sambar and serving online to the Indians in that country. So there may be a Sambar preparation website that may be prominently coming on as the first outcome of the search. So in that way, you have heard about that, but you don't know how to prepare that. So that is how the first group will do the Google search, or some of the guys in that Google in that group would go to the YouTube of preparing a Sambar. So they may be preparing the Sambar based on that. And second group, which has already heard about Sambar and tasted it, they know maybe from their mother's discussion with their mother or father, whomever has been preparing Sambar in their house, they would have listened to something, and now they will engage themselves in preparing Sambar. That is the second group. That is what empathize. Third group, which has not heard anything about that Sambar, but they have understood what is Sambar because they are all Indian origin. So they will try to identify what is Sambar either from Google search or from YouTube or from various other social media. Try to identify what can be done in preparing Sambar. Fourth and fifth group, as we already noted, they are the experts in preparing Sambar. Maybe one from Andhra, another one from Karnataka. So in that way, they would be already engaged in preparing sambar. We need to address for design thinking purpose the sixth group. What is this sixth group which is hearing the word sambar for the first time? What is that they will do in the empathizing? So what they would do? Anyone has so what is empathizing? We have already said here in this slide. So observe, listen, and engage. So what you are thinking, the participants of this group, this session, what do you think about the sixth group which is hearing the word sambar for the first time? Any guess from you? No one knows or no one wants to tell anything? Hello? Am I audible to you?
First,
Yes,
they
sir.
will search for the meaning of sambar.
Okay.
They will try to understand what it is first,
Okay.
whether it is a sabji or whether it is a liquid food or whatever it is. So they will first try to find out the meaning.
Okay. Nice. At least I
That
am.
is a starting point.
Okay. Okay. Nice. 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 So in since I have understood in this way, the first activity is observation. First, they will observe what the other groups are doing. First group is searching Google. Second group is also searching Google or YouTube. Third group is also searching Google. Fourth and fifth groups have directly gone into preparing sambar by taking the ingredients from the kitchen storeroom. So in that way, they will observe what is that they are doing. The other groups are doing. Then they will also listen, try to listen. What is that they are discussing? The other groups are discussing. And then they will engage in understanding what is that sambar is. So as one of the participants said, they will try to understand what actually is a sambar is. Is it a liquid or is it a solid kind of, or it is a semi-solid item? Is it edible or it is just a showpiece or that? So in that way, their discussion finally will try to lead understanding, observing what people do and how do they interact with their environment, and giving you the clues about what they think and feel. So finally, at the end of empathizing, they will understand what is this sambar. Okay, so the understanding of sambar is some ingredient, sambar is something, some edible that is most commonly available from India for people to eat with either dosa or chapati or whatever it is. So in that way, they will come to a conclusion. So that is the case study of empathizing. Then next step of the group, sixth group, which is totally new to the word sambar, is they will define now. So what is to be defined? Analyzing and creating your own observation of the user from the empathized stage. So we understood what is that item called sambar. Now try to craft a meaningful and actionable problem statement. So sambar is something which people eat mostly in South India. This may be a possible definition that would come from the sixth group. Okay. So why is this definition is required? Particularly from the population of India is more important. That is what the point of view is more important. Point of view is nothing but telling you the customers. If you remember, our definition of design thinking is to develop a conceptual solution or design activity of a solution based on the customer needs. That customer need is nothing but point of view. So point of view is what the actual customer wants. So the explicit expression of the problem that you are striving to address is to look at the customer need. The customer, if he is from Indian origin, you need to prepare the sambar in this way. If he is from some other country, you need to prepare the sambar in some other way. So that kind of definitions they will write. So identify your own audience. This is most important. So identify your own audience, reveal their needs, and articulate the insights. So this is how the definition stages are. Remember, the definition stages, we have mentioned only 3 here, whereas if you have design thinking of your own, you would be able to increase or decrease the number of stages in each of the phase. I'll just ask you a simple question, which may be true to all southern part of India. Here, more coconut trees are there. So, what is that I'm doing? I'm trying to tell you yet another case study, which I have mentioned in one of the slides later. That is called coconut tree climbing. Here in Mangalore right now, it is monsoon season. It is heavily raining outside. And climbing on the coconut tree, plucking coconuts is very difficult, not possible. People, human being will fall down because of the water body on the tree and these issues. So some people make use of some other mechanical tools with the help of which they climb the tree and pluck the coconut. 1 second. So, how will you design a new coconut climbing tree tool? I want to design a new tool, new mechanical device, which without the help of a human being will climb on the tree and pluck the coconuts and help the houses where the coconuts are mostly used. So how will you define that? So you have to identify your audience. Audience means you need to understand whether it is a monsoon based houses or dry locations, and then you need to understand the needs. The needs can also be different in different places. You might have seen those who are traveling more in the trains, you might have seen there would have been some kind of fencing in the trees. Particularly in Kerala side, also in the railway tracks on the substations, the transformers, you would have seen some kind of fencing which will prevent a human being to climb up and do some damage to the coconut plucking, or the transformers in the substations. So that kind of arrangement. So the needs have already been identified. Some mechanisms have already been devised. So what further you will do on that needs to be articulated as you are drafting or defining a new solution to the coconut tree climbing and devising a solution. So this is the second case study. I'm not going to tell you the solution, but I'm just giving you the problem. Third stage is what is to get as an idea. There may be, as you know, in each of the teams, there may be multiple members. Each member will be telling their own ideas. So we need to gather those ideas. So the third stage of the design process in which you concentrate on idea generation. So idea generation is multiple. So a step beyond obvious solutions to connect the collective perspectives and to uncover the unexpected areas of exploration and to create easy and flexible innovation options. So in the third phase of collecting ideas of preparing sambar, what all you will do? So each one, so let's assume for simplicity purpose, there are 3 members in the 6th team, and each member has understood the preparation of sambar based on the previous empathize and define stages. So he tells that sambar will have to be prepared like this, and the second person tells in one way and third person tells in the other way. So all these new ideas will have to be compiled, and you will have to prepare a chart. Which of the parameters are existing in which of the ideas, whose ideas, which of the parameters are not existing in whose ideas. So that kind of matrix kind of mapping, if you do the parameters, ideas, and what would be the situation at present, that kind of idea creation is more important. That mapping or tabular formulation is going to help you in making a collaborative, collective perspective. So that is what the second point is here. So the preparation of sambar is not just based on only one person. Preparation of sambar here based on design thinking is based on the collective perspectives. So in that way, it is an important issue. So multiple people. So I have not picturized the outcome of the idea collection, but that is the the activity, that is you have to make a table. So one side the parameters, another side what all being said by different group members. So you have to put the check boxes filled with either tick mark or whatever it is, and those check boxes will have to be gathered together, and you will have to make a compilation of what has been identified. So this is what being picturized here. So you have a regular brainstorming and reverse brainstorming. So if somebody says this is how you can make, and the other person can tell, no, this is not the way, this would lead to this kind of problems. So this has to be done in this way. So in that way, a very rigorous brainstorming session would have to take place. That will create the idea collection. Okay, so this is what the sambar preparation. What would you think, in your opinion, at the end of this idea collection would have happened in the 6th team, as per your understanding? Anyone gives any answer? Assuming that you are one of the members in that 3-member team of 6th group, which is totally unaware of what is called a sambar. So what would you tell? This is my idea of preparing sambar. Any answer from anyone? No one has got an idea, or all, it's already 11 o'clock, so all have gone to eat sambar, drink sambar. Okay, so had it been me, what I would do? So I would have told you, I would have told the other members of the team, okay, sambar is such and such a thing. So that is what the empathizing has told me, and the definition tells me, and this is how, who are the users and why they want the sambar, and how will I look at the insights of the sambar. So these two have been already identified from the empathizing and the definition of sambar. Now in the ideation of sambar tells me this is how I should prepare the sambar. A collaborative brainstorming should tell me. So our sambar preparation should cater to not only the audience of this session. Sambar preparation should cater to the whole of India, because the whole India drinks sambar. If I get such an understanding, then I will be able to promote my product called sambar to many different states. Otherwise, you will not be able to sell your product. That is the success of, we said already, Madam Indira Nui. So she didn't prepare her product, Pepsi, not only for America. So why is that Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all such drinks have been marketed by different people in multiple ways, and every one of the Indians now got addicted to use that? It is because the idea that was generated out of the brainstorming in the design thinking has told that this product should not focus only on one particular country. Right now the sambar is only for certain portions of India. If you go to northeast side, people do not know what is sambar. If you go to some other part of our own country, they may not even have heard what is sambar. Only those people who live in south, we all know what is sambar. So when we want to develop a product which can be sold online, based on Swiggy or Zomato or whatever it is, we should have a mechanism of bringing an idea. How will we cater to the needs of the customers? This is why, if you remember in one of the slides, we said one solution does not cater to all people. One solution will not cater to all people. Okay, so idea generation is the collective perspective and should be having a global meaning. So if you go to some of the, I remember some of the airports in India, Indianized solution, globalized Indian solution, something like that. You would find some slogans written. So some of the items which are available elsewhere in the world, are available in India also, but they are all Indianized products. So that way, your idea generation, idea gathering, and ideation should lead to prepare a solution model which is more innovative, which needs to be used by multiple groups of people, not necessarily focusing to a small group of people. Then you know the meaning of prototype. So prototyping is a rough and quick portion of the design process. So prototyping in general, in mechanical engineering, you say a miniature model. In computer science, you say it is a simulation model, and so on. So prototyping is nothing but you prepare the sambar in a small bowl and give it to some customers and identify whether those customers they can taste it and say quick feedback. So to test the possibilities of preparing sambar, and it may even fail, and it may even might have been prepared with cheap ingredients. So you need to come out of these problems very quickly. So that's why the prototyping helps you to iterate on the previous three stages and come out with a new prototype model. So how to prototype? So build with the user in mind. So this must be more important, and identify what is being tested. So you should know what you should give for people to test the product and to whom it should be given. For example, I'll just tell you, this came to my mind in the morning when I was again second time or third time browsing through the slides. So you are located at Chennai, and you have come from Japan all of a sudden. So in Japan, you have not heard what is sambar. So after reaching Chennai, you have prepared sambar based on some design thinking. And if you prepare the sambar based on Chennai's taste, and if you bring it to Mangalore, and if you give it to Mangaloreans, they will not like the Chennai sambar, because Mangalore sambar is, anyone knows? How will you differentiate between the Chennai sambar and the Mangalore sambar? Anyone has the experience?
Mangalore sambar somewhat sweety, sir. Chennai
Ah,
sambar somewhat more. We are using more chili.
yeah.
It's
So,
very
madam,
spicy.
yeah, madam has correctly said Mangalore people add jaggery in sambar, rasam, and therefore it's more sweet. Because
Yes, sir.
Mangaloreans are sweet like me. Whereas Chennai people are like Guntur chilies. So use more salt and chilies. So identify what is. So you should give to an approach. So what is the essence, actual message of this slide? You should give a small cup of sambar for testing purpose. That is called the prototype testing, to a right person. You should not give it to a wrong person. Then he will spoil your whole system. Okay, so in that way, don't spend too long and start building. So reiterate. So that is how the meaning of prototyping. The fifth stage is testing. This is also known to you. Testing is not software testing. It is just to solicit feedback. You must be knowing every product that you buy online today asks you to give the feedback. Is it not? Even if you buy gold chain from some jewelry shop in Chennai, they give you a paper and ask you the feedback. Why is that feedback required? That is called a testing. Whether the prototypes you have already created from is it really accepted in your audience or not? So that is the testing. So to refine prototypes and solutions, so the testing is done to refine and reiterate the prototypes and improve the solutions, informs the next iterations of the prototypes to refine your point of view. So my focus could have been on that wrong direction. Now the right direction can come and yields unexpected insights. So these unexpected insights is the one that gone into the actual testing of. So you should read several books that are available on Pepsi's products and Madam Indira Nooyi's activities. How did she arrive at the success for Pepsi? So you can read. So unexpected insights came because of that. So how to test? So ask the users to compare the products. So this is how you can do. This is one of the ways, and watch how they use. So this is also there. So if you think about sambar testing, so one of the ways of testing is, so watch how their facial expression is. So if the face, so you must be knowing facial expressions. After drinking sambar a spoon, if your face smiles, that means that sambar is of their required taste. If they show different faces after testing and tasting the sambar, then by the way of their facial expression, you will come to a conclusion. It's partially done, fully done, or not at all done. So in that way, so there are multiple ways of testing the product. So in that way, the 5 stages of Stanford model of design thinking can be practiced by different ways, by different people in developing a new model of the product. Tell me now, how is this sambar preparation would have ended the story of applying the preparation of sambar? Anyone has any guess? We already said design thinking is a mental model. It's a conceptual model. So how is this concept of preparing sambar would have got ended with the person like me or you who were in the team, 6th team?
If somebody said the sambar is very nice.
Okay. Okay. Any other answer? Okay, so the sambar preparation is not the imaginary story. It is the real story of some entrepreneur who is still living, living and making multiples of or crores of rupees in Hyderabad, who is the son of one of my close friends. So what is he doing? He goes with the sambars of different. So you must be knowing, since you are also Indian, you must be knowing cities like Hyderabad, in which Cyberabad, where most of the IT companies are there. You go to Bangalore, you get into the Whitefield and places like that. You go to Chennai, so what is that? Siriseri and places like that. Likewise, in every city, major city in India has got certain potential spots where more sale of the newer edibles are possible. So this guy who has completed MBA and tried a research on sambar with the design thinking. So this enabled him to go with a moving van with sambars of multiple items, multiple varieties, not items, multiple varieties. So if you ask for idli, so by asking the customer, or by looking at the customer, or by looking at the regularity of the customer to this mobile van, he puts a particular sambar in that idli and then gives it to him. So the customer is happy. So the end of the story of this story of the preparing sambar using design thinking is sambar need not to be of unique single quality or single type, single variety. So there can be multiple varieties. So with that kind of understanding, you must be knowing, since many of you may be from Tamil Nadu, you would see. So doctors tell, don't use white sugar. So what is the alternative that is available to us? For some time people were telling, doctors were telling, or some people were telling, take sugar-free tablets. Now people are doing what? Karpati tea or ginger tea or something like that. So in that way, there are many varieties and variations of preparing tea or coffee, which give you varieties of taste and still satisfying groups of multiple variants of customers. So that is the concept of design thinking. So now the next set of slides, we will look at the design thinking in societal needs. So healthcare is one of the fields which is at most important for all of us, because one or other day we should go to a doctor. Though we ourselves write doctor so and so, we are not the real doctors. We are all pseudo doctors. The actual doctor is sitting in the hospital. So we have to go to him. So healthcare field is the safety is at most important, and that's where the life and death comes into picture. So depending on the treatment. So thinking too much based on design thinking outside the box can be very dangerous. Is it not? So people think that design thinking cannot be applied in that domain. But still, people have applied design thinking in that domain. There are varieties of healthcare based devices. So look at all these devices. You must be knowing. So there are various devices which are like if you go for face surgery, so nose surgery, the artificial hand, artificial limb, and so on. There are many different varieties of products that are available. You also know most of the products, high-end products in all high specialties, super specialty hospitals, are manufactured by the company GE. So their original traditional MRI scanning machines, were like this, and now they have brought the 3D printing based machines. So which would tell you immediately, quickly, what is that you really require to do for the problems that have occurred in your body. This is an African story where people used to take water from a faraway place to their home. Later, some company which want to sell water to these people, they have invented this technique. Remember, see, so this is more easy than carrying water in the buckets and other utensils. So this is an innovative way of, so this is where the companies have become more profitable and making more money. So this is another story. So nowadays, people are migrating from country to country. So there are situations, there are countries where more people are from other than the native country. So these people who have migrated to that country, they do not know the actual lifestyle of the native country. So they have been educated how is the lifestyle of this native country and how will you cope up with the current situation. So there have been pictures and the audio guidance, video guidance, and the training schools that are available in such countries based on design thinking, based on from which country you have moved to that country, and therefore you will be able to lead a very peaceful life in that country, migrated country. So that is how a design thinking based solution is available. This is in the agricultural side. So if you want to prepare a very good yield of certain fruits or vegetables, there are ways in which the agricultural universities do that based on what is called design thinking. Now let us think about a notorious solution that everybody knows in India who have come across the airport in Bangalore. So you are the manager of the Kempegowda International Airport and you need to optimize the wait time of travelers at the security check. This is the most important aspect of security check in every airport in India, not only in India, in any country. So we can see that the problems or problems means one can divide this into multiple aspects of the problems. So that's why the plural is there. So however, there are crucial differences between them in the portions of these problems. In problem number 1, where the security check should be fastened, so the important factors are mostly interconnected. And the interconnection is because of the arrival pattern of the traveler. So when I arrive in just 1 minute time and I quickly want to pass through the security check, is it possible? And so on. So there are several smaller problems that have been narrated from this major problem, and the solutions have been addressed by the authorities in not only in Bangalore airport, in many different airports. Can anyone tell what is the present day practice that one of the optimal solutions that people think or people have been practicing, not only in Bangalore airport, it's true even in Chennai airport or any other airport in India. People are devising, there are groups of experts who are working based on design thinking to develop solutions for these airport problems. This is a real problem that every one of us know. Any suggestion, any idea, any witness? So no one has gone to any airport. Very nice. So I request every one of you, buy a air ticket. Don't ask me the money. So you buy the air ticket and travel and identify what is the problem. Particularly on Monday morning 6 to 10, you should be in the airport, Chennai airport or Bangalore airport, then you will understand the problems. There are many more examples. Climbing on a coconut tree. So this is a real life example which everyone knows. Wheelchair. You must be knowing the wheelchairs that you would have seen in railway stations, in airports. Those are all not wheelchairs. You must have seen the wheelchairs which were used by many different VIPs, not only in India, also in other countries. So wheelchairs have multiple different options. So you have to think as the user, what if I require to use a wheelchair? So what convenience I require? So from that viewpoint, if you think, you will be able to design a better wheelchair. So in that sense, wheelchairs have been designed. Governmental services to rural and urban population. You must be knowing every government, state government and central government in India try to reach the people by means of several services. So service design based on design thinking is one of the important research domain. Many of you may be knowing or may not be knowing, service computation is one of the important subdomain of distributed computing. So everything needs to be a service. So you must be knowing in cloud computing, software as a service, platform as a service, and so on. So governmental services, how it can reach the rural and urban population. So service design based on design thinking. That's how the governments have been proposing different solutions. One such activity is online or on-demand solutions. You need not to go every time to stand in a queue to buy or to do an activity. So there are multiple ways, online, on-demand solutions. There are people who work on these solutions and try to improve these online and on-demand solutions. Remember, in online on-demand solutions, cyber security is an important issue. Remember one more aspect, that design thinking can yield better solutions on security-based solutions. So that's also as one of the research activities. So teaching learning, which I have already told, particularly during pandemic and particularly during OBE, how the teaching learning can improve the students' engagement in the classroom activity. So you must be knowing, like you just log on to the system and vanish for a cup of tea or for some other purpose. So this has been the practice of students also. So how will you engage them? So that is more important. So in that way, there are multiple solutions, examples that are already available, and still improvements are going on. And if you think about the research in design thinking, and as was told earlier, it's the design thinking is being applied in many different disciplines, domains. We have applied in software engineering, particularly the requirements engineering, also in the requirements engineering for cloud computing. And if you want to read on different domains, you should, as usual, Google for getting more details, more research papers. So always you should engage yourself in learning, imagining yourself what should be possible, what should not be possible, what is to be done, how it can be done, and so on. Our Honorable Abdul Kalam ji said, you should imagine, not the imagination of dreaming. So you should imagine, dream, and bring it to the form of a product. So that's what was told even by Albert Einstein, that once you stop learning, imagining, preparing a solution, you are no more. You are not seen in the vicinity of the world. So that is what being said. And in the summary, the point about design thinking is that it is not a static or methodological academic process. This is what I told you in the beginning also. So design thinking is not a solution. It is not a static solution. It is not a methodology. Like what we say as an academic process. What is academic process? So 8 o'clock my class means 8 o'clock go to the class, till 9 o'clock teach, come out and do other activities. So it is not that kind of methodological academic process. It is a continuous process. Continuously you should be able to think what is it, how to improve that, and so on. So it's an evolving, dynamic, exciting way of exploring ideas, which you are doing it now. Maybe in your mind, at least 10% of the audience of this session must be still thinking the design thinking. So this is almost about being aware that you are doing this, and in essence thinking about thinking, how can we do it in a better way. So you should think about thinking, design thinking, and that should be a continuous process, a dynamic process, evolving process, exciting process, and exploring new ideas. So this is how the design thinking has to be understood. So that if you alone think, there is no use, because nobody is there to talk with you and so on. So you should have group of people brainstorming, design management, human factors, market research, user-centered design, inclusive design, user experience, problem solving by the teams, systems thinking, sustainability, cultural ways, sociology, and so on. All are the ways of thinking, and you need to incorporate all these thinking in your design thinking. Then only you will be able to get at least partially full-fledged design thinking concept for solving a problem that is in your hand. So design thinking is what I have said as the summary. So that's all from me. So thank you all. I hope I have made it clear to you all what is the design thinking. So if you have any questions, you may please ask. Or if you want to give any ideas related to design thinking from your own side, you may please give so.
Thank you, sir. Nice session with a very simple example. With the help of Sambar, you have come across with the entire design thinking process. Thank you so much. Dear participants, from your side, any clarification or any query? Kindly make use of the expertise from our professor.
No issue. Everyone is still thinking about preparing sambar in their own house, first of all, before tasting it by somebody else. So nice of you. Thank you, Dr. Pradeep, Dr. Sundarraj.
Thank you, sir. And as a formal,
So thanks.
any query from participant side? Please respond. If
No, sir. No, sir. No.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Nice of you.
sir, as a formal closing of the session, now I request Dr. S. Padmapriya, HOD of CSC and Vice President of IAC Council, to propose the vote of thanks. Madam, are you online?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And dear participants, please session feedback is on the chat window as well as on the YouTube link also. Please fill the feedback and assessment part. And on completion of assessment of both the session, you will get the e-certificate with to your mail ID within 1 or 2 days. Madam, you can take over the session.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
So very good morning to all. It's my pleasure to propose vote of thanks for the session. First of all, we would like to thank MHRD IIC for sponsoring this Impact Lecture Series, and a deep sense of gratitude to our today's chief guest, Dr. Chandrasekharan sir, Professor NIT Surat for the excellent informative session on this design thinking session. So really what Pradeep sir told us, taking a simple sambar example, fantastically you have moved step by step of this design thinking, sir. Really, even though it is simple, but it's you have given a very clarity in the design thinking, how we have to move step by step. And we are indeed grateful for the gift of your time and honor of your presence, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Sir, actually, I want to mention one thing. During my PhD Viva, you are my foreign examiner, sir.
Oh, thank you. I normally don't remember all such things. Thanks for recalling. Thanks to one and all.
Really, I'm so happy to meet you in this session. Thank you, sir. Sincere thanks to our principal and director, sir, for their support in all our endeavors. Our heartfelt thanks to our Dean Academic, President of this IIC, and the IIC coordinators for organizing this wonderful session. I extend my thanks to all the directors, heads of various departments, faculty members, and importantly, the participants, both external faculty members, internal faculty members, and student participants for their cooperation. Thank you so much.
Sir, a small appeal to you, sir. Being having a very good academic interaction with all the universities as well as IIT, NIT,
Okay.
you can suggest the design thinking as well as IPR and other innovative practices as one of the curriculum. Instead of having the professional ethics under other aspects, you can as one of the elective subject in the curriculum, which will be more useful for the students to focus on other areas, sir.
Just
It's my
to
small humble appeal to you.
you need not to be humble. You can boldly and with loud voice you can tell there is nothing wrong. But design thinking, no, it has to be practiced.
Yes, correct.
Though that's what in the beginning also I told. There are several websites telling you what is design thinking, but none of you will tell how to practice design thinking. So I have tried attempting telling you what is design thinking with the help of a Sambar. You must be, I don't know, those who are from Tamil Nadu watching Vijay TV reality show, something called Kitchen. I don't remember what
Yes,
is that.
correct.
So there will be 5-6 groups, and instantaneously the judges will give these are all the ingredients for you today. So you make whatever item that you like. So the groups, each group individually do brainstorming and prepare some item based on what they already know. Some people may even prepare something which may be totally new. That kind of shows or so-called the workshops will have to be done for the students. Unfortunately, in our country, in colleges like you or me, the student population is very huge. We cannot cater to all students. So this has to be organized in the form of an elective.
Yes.
But most of the colleges, the curriculum committee in different departments do not agree to this viewpoint. Because if you introduce a new subject as an elective, they may have to lose their own one of the core curriculum subjects. For example, in computer science and engineering, if you ask me, I will be able to tell you what were the subjects which I was teaching 35 years before when I joined at NIT Suratkan. That time it was called REC Karnataka. Today, at least 20% of the subjects are not there in the curriculum. So in that way, you should be able to have, that is curriculum designers should be able to have what is called a design thinking in the curriculum revision. And they must be able to tell what subjects need to be eliminated, or in some of the existing subjects, how this design thinking can be incorporated. So I have experimented last 2 semesters in design thinking in software engineering, because so that is what my involvement in design thinking is. So that's how maybe Professor Pradeep can suggest right to AICTE and other curriculum revision bodies, including universities. But how good they will be in terms of accepting our suggestions will be not known. But in our own level, we can do that. So that is what I am doing.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what my answer is. Thank you, Professor Pradeep.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Is it okay if I leave the meeting? Or
Yes, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks to all of you once again. Thanks to Professor Pradeep and his college administration once again. Nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Good
so
luck
much.
to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Currently, she is located at Chennai. Basically, she has completed a doctorate in material science from Indian Institute of Technology, Dhanbad, that is the state of Jharkhand. She is a registered patent agent and certified trainer to undertake various IPR awareness program in schools and colleges under the national IPR policy by IPR promotion cell and a patent facilitating center, that is TIFAC, that is a Technology for Information Forecasting and Assessment Council, Delhi. So she is closely associated with the government of India, US, as well as with IAM. So that kind of vibrant speaker today we can have. And she helped the students with IAM for various startup activities and building the younger generation, that is budding engineers. I hope definitely the session will be more useful to you. So I welcome Dr. Vichita Jha for this forum to have a session on fostering innovation and entrepreneurship in India. Welcome, ma'am. And it is my duty to welcome our principal, Dr. C. Sundaraj. Actually, he is associated with some activity, busy schedule. And surely.
No, I am also present, no problem.
Okay. Welcome, sir. Sir, can you? Sir has already joined. So I welcome our principal. Actually, he would like to share some insight based on innovation as well as startup in due courses. Welcome you, sir. And it's my duty to welcome the participants from various areas like other parts of the states, not only with respect to Tamil Nadu, from West Bengal, other areas, participants from across India has joined. Participants, those you may also join with the YouTube link also. And I would like to welcome heads and directors of various departments for the second session, and the members of IAC Council of AVC College of Engineering, and the faculty members and students of AVC College of Engineering for this session. I hope that definitely the session will be an insight to all of you to take up to the next level. Like when you go for a startup activity or entrepreneur, or if you want to become an entrepreneur, or if you can go with the patent or whatever the case is, it depends. So she is having a versatile knowledge on different areas. So the session will be more useful to you. Attend the session completely, and you can also have your interaction. The session should be of, if it is of interaction, it will be good for both the listener as well as the giver. And once again, I welcome one and all. Thank you. Sir, can you give a small presidential address?
Thank you, Pradeep.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Madam, welcome to our college, of course, by virtually. And we expect you come to here directly also. Yesterday, we had a meeting with our peoples regarding this IPR, that is patent filing. Actually, in our college, we are having good infrastructure and all facilities are available. The only thing we are lacking is the IPR, that is intellectual property rights also. We are having very less amount, only a few patents that too have been filed, not published. Okay, so like that we are having, but otherwise the publications and the research, PhD, other things are very good. So the startup and patent, we are weak. And I think this is the right topic to motivate our faculty as well as the participants. And I hope you will do the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
so
much.
Ma'am, now you can take up the session. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pradeep sir, and thank you very much, Principal sir. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And I feel very privileged to be among all of you and to be able to deliver whatever little experience and knowledge I have. And it is always my pleasure to talk in between academicians and scientists, because that is, I'm also a researcher and that is where my heart lies. Though I work as an intellectual property consultant, but I'm also a scientist. So it is always a pleasure to be among people like you and to share my ideas. So, so generally, I talk about IPR basics, awareness, and procedure of how to file and how to secure your ideas, how to file your intellectual property, etc. But for a change, today I will be talking about incubation centers, which is also a very important know-how to have, that how do we benefit from incubation centers and how can they help us in securing our ideas. So I'll start with sharing my screen. So my talk today is on fostering innovation and entrepreneurship in India, our incubation centers. So I'm very sure that all of you must be, this is a very common term these days, incubation centers. It's a very common trend for incubation centers to come up in universities, in academic institutions, in management institutions today. So I'm sure everybody is aware and everybody must have heard of this. We will talk more about incubation centers today, that how they are helping is us in Digital India and Make in India movement, how they are encouraging and helping the budding entrepreneurs, which includes right from students who are still in college to entrepreneurs which have just like established their venture, and also the established ones. So we will talk more in detail today about how they are fostering the innovation and entrepreneurship in our country. So I'm myself associated, as Pradeep sir just mentioned in the introduction, that I'm associated as an IP advisor and mentor in one of the incubation center, which is in IIM Udaipur. And what we basically do is to guide the entrepreneurs from all levels, from all the stages, right from children to students, to faculties, to scientists, to people from corporate, and also the people who are running their own companies. We guide them that how to secure their intellectual property, and how losing or not securing your intellectual property can lead to not just your loss, but country's loss as well. Now, what is an incubator? If we define an incubator, it is simply an enclosed apparatus in which premature small babies are placed and which provides a controlled and protective environment for their care. This gives them a chance to adjust to outside environment and grow stronger before they face the outside world. So this is the origin of basically the word incubator. Now, in a similar way, the startup entrepreneur's business idea is also incubated in the incubation centers. So when your idea is in a baby stage, we provide you an incubation to basically protect or incubate your idea in. Now, as all of you must be aware that entrepreneurship in India is on the verge of explosive growth, and which is actually the need of an hour for employment generation, poverty elevation at grassroots through developmental intervention. India's economic progress has started from the development of its small and medium-scale enterprises to ensure that the sectors continues to stay competitive and achieve sustained growth in the era of global economy. Now, how do we ensure that this culture of entrepreneurship, we don't just want entrepreneurs, we don't just want people who start their own companies. We want a culture of entrepreneurship. We want this culture to be imbibed right from school children to college students to faculties everywhere. So we want this culture of entrepreneurship, and how do we do that? Now, many incubation centers has been established with this mission, that to encourage the innovative ideas. And this innovative idea, again, I mentioned, can come from anywhere. There is no stage, there is no field, and there is no age of being an innovator. If you can solve a problem, if you can solve even a minute problem, no matter how small that is, you are an innovator. If you have solved a problem which 100 people might have already solved, but your solution, you are solving it in a better way, in a more efficient way, in an easier way, in a simpler way, or in a more economic way, you are still an innovator. And so you might need the help of the centers whom I'm going to talk about. Now, if you have already registered as a startup, suppose you have a business idea, you're ready to grow your business, and you're uncertain about how to go about it, because we are all new there. We don't know. We have the idea. Maybe this idea can be a scientific idea. This can be a research idea, which you think can be commercialized. So you registered yourself as a startup, and you are now suppose struggling for funds. You are struggling for networking, office space, infrastructure, etc. You might need to associate with a business incubator. Now, why incubation? What does basically an incubation center does? For the uninitiated, accelerators and incubators are basically finishing schools of sorts for aspiring entrepreneurs and early stage ventures. So what happens when you join an incubator? It is basically similar to the process of becoming part of a college program. What do we do when we have to finish a degree? We join a college, right? We finish the school, and then we basically function in that field. Similarly, it is almost like being part of a college program where you have to apply, you have to be accepted. Even the procedure of how we join a center is somewhat similar. I will not say exactly, but somewhat similar to joining a school or a college. So we apply, we get selected, we get shortlisted, then we reach the next level, we got accepted, and then if we are joining the program, we have to follow a schedule to meet the incubator defined benchmarks. If you proceed with an incubator, you will need to commit to being part of the incubator for a particular length of time as well, which can be 1 year, which can even be 2 years, which can sometimes even be small duration, example, months. For example, suppose we talk about food industry. Now, food industry is facing copious challenges recently in the COVID era also. And all of us know that food industry is constantly evolving. Now, there are food incubators, and what do? They help startups breed by providing them with the capital investment, well-furnished commercial kitchen spaces, access to networking classes, packaging, distribution support, whatever you need in the process of running your business, you can get it. So incubators basically help early stage companies refine their ideas, create their business plan, work on product to market fit, identify potential intellectual property issues, and network with other startups, because that is also that also plays an important role. Because suppose you finish you finish a particular course in college, and all of your this is particularly for students, that suppose all of your batchmates decided to go towards a particular stereotypical path, that they joined a particular company, or they went for higher studies, and suppose you are the only one who decided to become an entrepreneur. At that stage, when you do something which is ahead of the, or which is different from the common league, you face a problem of lack of networking. You don't have people in your genre to connect to talk about your problems, because you have done something different, you have taken a different path. So that way, even networking with other similar people who are on a similar page with you goes a long way in helping you. So the incubators, they promote development and growth in ways such as they invest in your startup. In the early stage, new startup and need funding, while they test business models and develop products. So funding options through incubators vary and may be available in the form of loans, investment in exchange of equity. So they will invest in your startup right now, and they will settle for a share of equity later when you make profit, depending on a case-to-case basis. Plus, startups may take advantage of workspace offered by incubators. You may not have an office space immediately when you start your work, independent work. So it reduces your budgetary demands such as office rent, overhead, and they also offer the opportunity to share the resources with other startups, allowing them to make best use of funding they receive. So that was the investment part. Then, as I said, connecting startups to other startups and the investors. Now, raising capital often takes startups months searching for and pursuing elusive investors, or maybe costly when using highly paid intermediaries. So incubators basically have the ability to potentially save founders time and money by connecting them to their large networks of venture capitalists and angel investors. They can introduce you to thousands of basically whoever is best suited to your business type and industry, because there are many people who are ready to invest in businesses, but they don't know from where the innovative ideas are. You may be sitting with a very innovative idea in maybe some far remote city or village, and simply there is somebody to support you with everything, but there's nobody to connect you with the investor. So that is what the incubation center does. They can introduce you to those best suited for your business type and industry, and you are better prepared for meeting with them. They prepare you, they groom you, they basically increase the odds of winning an investment, because usually they help shape your pitch. They train you that how to present yourself in the market out there. Then supplying mentorship and experience. There are experienced entrepreneurs they provide coaching on business tactics and assist in the creation of an attractive business plan, which is ready to be presented to potential investors. Then the incubators also offers events where you can practice the delivery of your pitch to potential funders or partners and network with them, so that you are better prepared to face the industry. As I said, office space is there. They provide you with the concept of office space, with all of the necessary office supplies to get your business up and running, and other resources which you need, like internet access. You can so whatever the resources or whatever infrastructure you need in the course of running your business, it is provided. They offer clients access to more funding opportunities from many different outlets, and they allow you to meet basically potential private investors. So having this business infrastructure in place, how it helps the entrepreneur, it basically helps them to focus on what matters most, which is your core business product. So startups can then focus their time and energy on creating, evolving, and testing their products. they're also able to basically tap into a strong network of business partners and investors and allow for the startup businesses to network productively. Then there is PR help, marketing help, being a part of a group of company help gain the traction and step into the spotlight. So you are able to reap the benefit of being promoted by the organization, and you have a PR, you have a marketing advice for their brands. And also you are, as I said, that there are many people like you over there if you go. So it is a basic, and an incubation center is basically a home to many startups. So you are part of a support system where you learn from each other's mistakes and triumphs. It allows you to better succeed and create bonds and also friendships that are everlasting. We have seen startups and entrepreneurs which were not known to each other, helping each other through thick and thin and to grow together. So that's a great feeling to have, and that's a great networking to have. Then you have support from the mentors. There are various mentors associated with the incubators who are basically experts in their own fields, and therefore you can learn and hear firsthand about their personal experiences, and then they learn the do's and don'ts. They help you with the business basics, including marketing, accounting, presentation skills, legal guidance, human resource. So whatever your doubts are, whatever your basically issues are, concerns are, everything is being taken care of. So any business who use incubators, they are more likely to succeed. Now, when we talk about business, there are various stages of business, and likewise, there is the fund, there's the sourcing possible, the fund sourcing. I will talk briefly about this, since this is all pure business talk. I know it might not be very interesting for a lot of you, except those who already have a business idea in their mind and who are confused that basically can we basically go in a different direction and start our own business. Except those people, it might be a little monotonous, but I would like to talk briefly about the different stages of business. First is early stage. Early stage is also called the seed phase, also known as the pre-commercialization stage. At this stage, the basic research is completed, but the commercial capabilities are not yet proven. So generally, there is not a formal business entity yet, because the decision of whether to move forward with creating a business has not been decided. You are still confused that whether I have an idea, but whether I can do a business with it, whether I can start a business with it, whether I can make it my whole career, whether I can leave my well-paying job, or whether I can whether I can leave a high-paying job offer and start my own thing. So that is the decision, that is the stage of confusion. So during the seed stage, the entrepreneur generally requires relatively small amount of financing to conduct business feasibility studies, that whether the idea will work. I know a lot of students who are in their final year, who are in their third year, fourth year, they basically, they have a lot of ideas, I would say, but they are not sure that whether these ideas will work in industry, whether these idea can be commercialized. So at that stage, what they can do is they can develop prototypes, they can evaluate the market potential, they can protect intellectual property. At least you can file a patent for your idea before disclosing it to the public, and then investigate other aspects of the business idea. So that is the early stage. The next is seed funding. For the startup firm in the initial stage, owner's capital is seen as seed financing. That means whatever your own money you are investing in your business. And that happens when the options for external financing are limited. It is considered to be the primary option as a source of finance from the startups. Owner capital is the part of insider financing, basically, and is the largest sources of informal finance for the startup, including owner's equity. It can be loan, credit card, whatever. So insider finance channels mostly included finance from family members, friends, affiliates, whatever. Or if you have planned to start your business with some other friend of yours, some other business partner, then the funds of you both together is called the seed funding. The next stage is where comes the incubator. Now, business incubators, as I already discussed in brief, they are organizations geared towards speeding up the growth and success of startup and early phase companies. So they are frequently a basically safe route to capital from angel investors, state governments, economic growth alliances, and other investors. And there are a lot of programs which are basically run in the, so it is not necessary, please don't have this notion in your head that only if you're going to become an entrepreneur, you need to join or you need to basically connect with an incubation center. Not at all. There are a lot of incubation centers like in IITs, in colleges and all, who are basically only dedicated to the students and faculties of that particular institute, that you can discuss your idea. If you have an innovative idea in your head, and they can help you find the best route, that whether we can secure this idea, whether we can file an intellectual property for it, whether you can commercialize it. So basically, all it requires to connect to an incubator is to have an idea in your head. You need not be a full-time entrepreneur. You might be a full-time student. You might be a faculty. You might be a scientist, or you might also be somebody who is working in a corporate company. There is no requirement of being associated with an incubation center only if you are an entrepreneur. So that, be very clear about it. There are a lot of online programs as well which you can join, and where we can discuss your doubts with. If you can't attend it, attend residential programs. Anyways, most of the programs now we are running in incubation centers after the COVID era is mostly online, and they are running successfully. So who sponsors? Basically, they are individual companies or municipal entities, public establishments who sponsors these kind of, like, that's where we get the funding from, because there are a lot of curiosity that who funds these kind of programs and why somebody will fund or why will somebody spend money in these kind of programs. So the goal is to help create and grow young businesses by offering them with necessary sustenance and financial and technological services. So it is a win-win situation for everyone here. The person who is joining the center, incubation center, also the person who is funding it. So incubators provide numerous benefits to owners of startup business, including whatever they need. They can need their office space, they can need funding, they can need advice, they can need a much needed expertise in some particular a particular field. Now, companies typically spend an average of 2 years in a business incubator, during which time they share the office resources. Office resources can be your printer, your telephone, your internet, your space in which you sit. So everything is basically they share, because in an effort to reduce everybody's overhead and operational costs. And many among them have potential capital to invest. Some of them, they become successful maybe after 1 or 2 years. So they come back to the incubation center and they invest in it, because they are looking for another innovative idea to invest in, which is, again, I said, a win-win situation. So there is an access to services. There's also an access to human resources services, like lawyers, like accountants, like, as I said, the invaluable coaching which you get, networking connections to the staff and the other entrepreneurs at the incubator. Now, the other stages are angel investors. Now, what is an angel investor? They're basically high net worth individuals who provide early stage companies with the financial and even non-financial assets. That can be skill, that can be professional networking, coaching, expertise. So basically, they have a very successful background usually, and they have obviously a very committed, strong hands-on approach. And the amount of funds they will invest will not be as high as institutionalized venture capital firms, because they are individuals. They have high net worth, but they're individuals, and they want to invest in the in basically the small size firms. Now, the next is venture capital investors. They're companies who invests in your business. Then there is bank and financial institute funding, which you all know about. We can basically, there are different types of loans, low interest loans, interest free loans. There are a lot of reduction transaction cost. So a lot of things, a lot of business terms, which I will not go into much detail in, because we are sitting in a very academic setup today. Then private equity. Equity capital is not quoted on a public exchange. Private equity consists of the investors and funds. They directly basically invest into private companies and they buy equities, shares, buyouts, whatever you call it. Initial public offering, there are also a public offering is what? It's basically an IPO. The first sale of stock is the first offer of stock by an organization to people in general. So these are various stages of business. If you have reached the initial public offering, then you are basically, you have reached certain level. Now we'll talk about types of incubators in India. There are different types of incubators, and we should know that because if you search about incubation centers in India, you will find it everywhere these days. You'll find it in every street, every college, every nook and corner of the country. But how do you know that which particular incubation center is meant for me, is meant for my kind of idea or my kind of need or for my stage? Business incubators are basically, they promote continuous regional and national industrial and economic growth, including the increasing employment through general business development or stimulating specific economic objectives such as industrial restructuring, wealth generation, basically. So this combines a variety of small enterprise support element in one integrated affordable package. So it has a special niche, obviously, that's nurturing the early stage growth-oriented ventures. Now, the next is technology incubators. They are intended for bolstering the technology development stage. So there are basically technology-based firms, and they are being assisted by these kind of incubators in completion of the technologies under development. So they specifically focus not on the business idea, but specifically on the technology, on a particular technology. The technology innovation centers. So what they do is they conduct research and development and technology innovations required by the industrial field, because a lot of times you need a lot of R&D. You need a lot of this kind of investment to be put in the kind of, because it might be an idea which is not so easy to be replicated or to be commercialized, right? So that way, in that stage, TICs come into picture. What they do is they jointly invest resources into university campuses or research institutions and achieve commercialization with support from business enterprises or public institutions. Then there are technology business incubators, which is a venture of universities, public research institutes, local government, and private institutes. So they're a combination of basically everything, and they promote and bolster a new technology intensive enterprise. Because to understand your idea, to understand that how potentially fruitful or how potentially industrially applicable it is, you also need a team of experts. So the team of experts will include people from everywhere. They will be experts, they will be scientists from universities, institutes, CSIR, government, private institutions, everywhere. So they will, it will be more helpful for you to pitch in your idea or to pitch in your scientific idea or research idea over there. So a lot of different types of incubation centers are there. In India, basically it was a movement. The incubator movement in India, it took off in the late 1980s as a policy for promoting entrepreneurship and stimulating new venture creation. So they have existed from a long time, but only recently have we become so aware of the Make in India movement or Digital India movement. So that is why they have come into focus again. They have been in the picture from a lot of time, but recently, currently, I mean, India has the third highest number of incubators, with over 250 incubators being present in India. And a large number of incubators I'm talking about are being run by universities and educational bodies. And also there are some others, like a host of privately run incubators and accelerators. Some are homegrown, others set up, and some also run in collaboration with partners from abroad. And also another trend gaining momentum is that of corporate accelerators. So what is happening is, in the past 4-5 years, many large multinationals have set up incubator and accelerator programs. Wherever you are, as I said, even if you are working in an industry, you have an innovative idea, you have a plan, it might be anything. I'm sure you will find an incubation center even somewhere within your industry, within your company, or somewhere nearby. So what they seek, they seek the latest in innovation, and they offer you the technical expertise, and they mentor you. Like you need not have an invention or an idea which is fully ready, which is fully developed or fully prepared in order for you to go and talk about it. It might still be in a stage where you need lot of advice, lot of mentoring to grow. And even then, even suppose if you're working in an industry, if you're working on a particular product or particular process, and if you have developed, or if you have an idea which can improve how you work there and how you work on things, even that is an innovative idea, and even that way you can be an innovator together with whatever your current career path is. So basically, a lot of the Indian corporates are running such programs. There are some banks who are running such programs. And obviously, IITs and IIMs, some of the top educational bodies of India, run some of the biggest in-house incubators to promote entrepreneurship in the country. So you just have to connect to the correct person. I'm sure all of you must have heard about the Startup India initiative, the Government of India's flagship initiative to promote a robust startup ecosystem in India. Everything here is online, and you don't even need to go and search somebody to meet and to discuss. You can just serve the website of the Startup India. It's a very user-friendly website. There are a lot of helpful ideas in order to understand whether you can register a company, while you are still part of something else. What are the criterias? How do you basically benefit if you have a startup, if you have a recognized startup? How do you register your startup? What is a startup basically? What constitutes a startup? Everything you will find here. So, it's a very straightforward process. I think it just takes 2 weeks if I apply online, and there are some procedures, there are some documents which they ask for, and it does not take more than 2 weeks to get you a startup certificate. And after you get that certificate, you need a lot. You basically enjoy a lot of benefits under the Startup India initiative, which some of them is visible here on the screen. Self-certification, tax exemption, easy winding of company, startup patent application and IPR protection. There are a lot of fee rebates which you get if you register, if you secure your IPR, easier public procurement norms, then SIDBI fund of funds, a lot of funding for the statements, for the investment into startups. So all of these information and in more detail you can find in the Startup India portal. It's a one-stop platform to interact, to exchange knowledge, and it connects you to some of the brightest young minds of India. And I highly recommend this website if you are looking for anything related to this. So what qualifies as a startup? I was just talking about it. Now, there are a couple of criterias for you to be registered as a startup. And also, even if you have registered as a startup already and you have received a certificate from the Startup India, which will give you a number, registration number and everything, you are not always a startup. Right? Suppose today today I've started my own company. Maybe I'm making some product. Maybe I have thought of, like, I was facing some hair fall, and I basically came up with an idea of a novel hair oil. I basically made a concoction of 10 different hair oils and some herbs and something, and I made a hair oil, or I got some idea from my mother or grandmother to make a novel hair oil, which I actually benefited myself from. And then I thought that why not make a business out of it? Why not start making a good packaging, and how to why to not start thinking in this direction? So maybe I can benefit more people, and I can also benefit in the process. So now this idea has come. Now, I don't know whether it qualifies as a startup. Now, to qualify as a startup, you need to apply in the Startup India portal, and you see what are the requirements. And after you get the certificate of the startup, there is a fixed criteria of the turnover, that how much your turnover is for the next 5 years. If the turnover exceeds a particular value, then you are no longer a startup company. Then you are then you become, basically, you graduate from the startup to a well-established company. So if you are interested in this direction, I'm not going to talk into very detail again here, but you can very well research this on the website. Atal Incubation Centers are basically, it started, I think, mostly in response to the pandemic COVID-19. The Government of India interministerial working group has been set up to identify promising startups that can offer innovative solutions to address the crisis. That was the COVID crisis I'm talking about, which started 2 years back. Now, the Atal Innovation and Niti Aayog are managing this initiative in partnership with relevant ministries. Obviously, now, after gradually we are coming out of the pandemic, now we are incorporating a lot of different programs, a lot of different startups. But within 2 years of, like in 2020 and 22, I think a total of 1,000 plus COVID-19 related startup solutions have been put up through 2 rounds of evaluation by the working group of Atal Incubation Centers. So these solutions can belong to anything. It can belong to your medical equipment. It can belong to hygiene, your tech-based solution. It can be it can be anything. It just has to have a problem solution approach. So what Atal Incubation Centers also does, and it works under Niti Aayog, is basically they mentor young minds. They mentor students right from schools to colleges to the companies, and from the corporate companies, basically everywhere. So basically they provide the hands-on training, the hands-on guidance, or the hands-on expertise to students to develop an early entrepreneurship and innovation culture. So a very successful program, and everybody who is associated with as a mentor in Atal Incubation Centers, even one of you also can become a mentor here. You basically have to volunteer, you basically have to apply, and you have to offer your services depending on your schedule. And depending that you have to be an expert at a particular field, you have something to give. You have something to give to the students and to the young minds, and how can it benefit? And ultimately, we are all working for our country. We are all working for basically fostering innovation in the country as a whole. So what we do is we develop new policies and programs for fostering innovation in different sectors of the economy, and we provide the platform and collaboration opportunities to the various stakeholders in the entrepreneurial space. Stakeholder means nothing but the people who are directly affected by it. So that is Atal Incubation Centers. It basically supports the establishment of new incubation centers, and they nurture innovative startups in their pursuit to become scalable and sustainable business enterprises. So they are government incubation centers directly. They are working with the government of India. Now, finding the right startup incubator for your business. Now, again, since there is so much of information, I think it becomes little confusing. But as I said, that you don't need to incorporate all these informations in your head as of now, because it all happens stage-wise. Let us talk about these factors, that what are the factors which basically should be taken into consideration. Program alumni. Now, it is important to look at which other companies got started at each incubator program you are considering, because participation can be an excellent resource for improving your network. So make sure you will be in good company. And by good company, I mean the people who are closely associated in the area you are planning to work, in the area you want to work, or you already have something in your mind. So it's not only about how many successful companies have come out of a particular incubator. You want to make sure that the alumni have a similar business philosophy to yours, so it will be a good fit, because everybody's philosophy might be different. We are all at different areas, different fields. We all work in our respective fields, and we all might have an innovative idea, and we all might be looking for different things. Like suppose I am a scientist, I might have an idea, and I might not be looking for a business company to start. I might just be looking to hand over my idea to somebody else who can work with my idea, right? So that kind of need is depending on the particular case. So one way to determine this is by actually speaking with some of the alumni. Instead of making assumptions, take the time to pick someone's brain to ask questions and identify questions you haven't yet thought to ask. You will develop a much clearer picture of the realities of each potential incubator by doing so. Then there are mentors, incubator mentors. Now, mentorship, as I mentioned, is a key resource offered by an incubator. And but also, unfortunately, just because someone has more experience than you, they aren't necessarily the best candidate to mentor you. There might be somebody who is of a similar age, or who might be even younger to you, but they might just know something which you require, which that particular knowledge might help you in your work. So you want to be sure. Just don't blindly follow the mentors also. You want to be sure that the mentors in the incubator that you select are in fact a good match for your specific business based on their background. So check the backgrounds of their mentors, check their experiences, check their expertise, and check that what they have done. Are they fit to guide you in that particular area or not? You also need to find out what kind of access you will have to the mentors, because sometimes the access also is basically different level. You can sometimes just have an online session with them, a group session in which there might be like some 40 participants in one go, which might not be the best way to interact with a mentor. Then, so you have to find out that will mentoring sessions be one-on-one, or will they be group chats? Because again, it depends on what stage you are in right now. You might even benefit from a group session, maybe at your stage. But if you're already at an established stage, you might have some specific concerns, specific questions, which you might benefit more on a one-to-one session with a mentor. So this makes a huge difference. So be clear about this prior to selecting an incubator to apply to, so you are certain to have an experience that meets your expectations and requirements. Then culture. Now, culture, basically, since being part of an incubator program means that you're part of a group. Incubator is nothing but a group of people to guide you or to help you. So basically, make sure to select one where you will be well aligned with the other participants. There should not be a very wide culture difference where you cannot relate with other people, or where you don't feel comfortable. So this will ensure that you're able to receive full advantage for fitting in and having the opportunities to commiserate and network comfortably. So see what do you, again, it depends on case to case basis. Somebody may need a more casual environment, or somebody might prefer a more professional environment. So you want to gain a good feel for each incubator's vibe, so you will know in advance if it's a good cultural fit for you or your company. Then the commitment. So commitment, as I said, that it differs. Typically, an incubator requires a 1 to 2 year commitment, which is not at all a short-term commitment. So it's important, if you are like fully enrolling in the program, there are obviously also monthly programs also being run. So it's important to approach this decision with this in mind. It demands more of you than simply the hard work of running your business. So make sure that you will be able to handle the added activities such as attending classes and completing the coursework on top of the normal business requirements. So if you are not in a position to take the full advantage of a full-time residential program, then perhaps you should not apply right now, and you can apply at a later stage. Because if you are just on the verge of becoming an entrepreneur, you might have a lot to do in your list. So only if you are ready to invest in your plan, invest in your idea so much that as to invest 1 or 2 years, I can invest and I can learn more about entrepreneurship, only then you should join it. Now, the offer and other costs, basically, although a small business incubator provides your company with many things, you also need to consider what you are giving up in return. So it's common for programs to offer funding in exchange for equity, but is it truly a good deal for you? I'm sure a lot of you must have watched this program on TV called Shark Tank, right? So you have some idea of what I'm talking about. So you have to see, is it truly a good deal for you? Yes, capital may be useful in the short term to aid in the expansion of your business, but it may pale in comparison to the long-term value of the equity you give in exchange. So it is critical to carefully consider this as a cost that you are paying to be part of an incubator program. And in addition to the cost associated with the equity you give in exchange to the funding offered, there are other cost considerations. So don't forget to check to see how much it costs to use the incubator's workspace and equipment. Sometimes there are costs associated with various things. So suppose your funding is in the form of a loan, you will also want to carefully consider the term offered. So there are a lot of things which you need to check here. Then location. Obviously, it is often a requirement of participation. If you have to relocate yourself and your business in some other geographic area, if you're joining a full-time program, you have to relocate if the incubation center is in some other city, which can be costly, time-consuming. So before you apply, please make sure that you're prepared to make this sort of change. And also, other location-related considerations include whether the location is good for your type of business, if you want to stay or not. Then their history. So it is important to look at what your prospective small business incubators have been doing in the past years and how well they are doing in the market. So you need to find out things like which successful businesses it has helped launch, what type of funding they offer, what % of graduates from the program have gone to achieve key milestones, what the incubator does to ensure the success of alumni companies, how long they have been operating, who backs them. So all of these information will give you a much clearer picture of the incubators you'll seriously want to consider. Needs match. So as I said, that every startup, every entrepreneurship idea has got different needs. For example, somebody needs funding, somebody needs guidance on how to file a patent, somebody needs guidance on how to run your business, somebody needs guidance on, somebody just needs knowledge and education. So be clear on what your particular business needs to ensure that the incubator you select is focused on fulfilling the needs which are most important to you. So then there are referrals. So competition to enter an incubator is often fierce. So it can be quite helpful to have a referral from someone if you know somebody who is connected in some way to the one where you're applying. So it definitely sometimes make a difference. And also it gives you more insights about what is in store for you. So feel free to reach out to people like this. Feel free to ask questions, to just find out, to share, clear your doubts and whatever. The incubator founders, So the actual founders of the incubators you're considering also makes a difference. Look into their educational background, just like your mentors. Look into their background, their track record as entrepreneurs, the experience in operating the work. And you may also want to see how and often they meet with their participants. So as you can see, there are many details to consider when selecting the best startup incubator for your business. So it's a critically important decision. So you end up in the program best suited to your needs while receiving the support and guidance you desire. Selecting the right one can have a huge impact on your rate of growth and the future success of your business. So having talked about all these things, which were mostly business related terms, I also want to talk a bit about the importance of, I don't think I have a slide on this, but okay, I will talk about the importance of intellectual property and that how and why securing intellectual property becomes important for your venture, for your idea, irrespective of which stage you are in, related to your business or related to your company or idea, whatever. Now, basically, as I said, that intellectual property is your property, just like a normal commercial property which you cherish. Similarly, intellectual property is also your property which you benefit from in the long run, which you can commercialize and make the others benefit too. So again, a win-win situation. So mostly securing your intellectual property is important in the early stage of your idea. And one of the most effective way to do is to file, like first you have to identify that what kind of idea you are having. If it is a scientific idea, if it is a product idea, if it's a process idea, if it's an idea related to research and development, you can basically file a patent for it. And again, filing a patent will not require you to have your invention fully ready or to have a prototype of the invention or to have a proper AutoCAD drawing of your product, of your so all of these things, it will not be needed at the time of filing a patent application. All you require is that you have an idea and you want to divulge or you want to share your ideas to the government in order for a exclusivity, in order for an exclusive right, in exchange for an exclusive right over the idea. So how it goes is once you have an idea in your head, since we talked so much about incubators, since we talked so much about connecting to the right people or to apply to incubation programs and all that, it is very important to secure your IP before you do all this, because you don't know that what kind of basically public disclosure you will be doing in order to talk to people, in order to talk to potential investors, or in order to talk to any incubation center, etc. It is important to record your idea somewhere. It will be much better if you can file a provisional patent application for it, if you have a product or a process idea, if it is industrially applicable. There are only 3 criteria for an idea to be potentially patentable, which includes novelty, which includes non-obviousness, and which includes that it has to be industrially applicable, which means that you should be able to make it in an industry. It should be able to be made in an industry. So it is basically, as I said, that it has to be a problem solution approach. So in that way, if you think you are solving a problem in a better way, irrespective of how minute your inventive step is, you can file a provisional patent application, and you can secure a registration number from the government of India, and you will still have time. So don't think that my idea is not fully ready, I don't have a prototype, I don't have a proper drawing, or I don't have a proper write-up also. So don't think about all this. you can file a provisional patent application, which will be a brief write-up of your invention. You can file it. You can take somebody's help to file it, and then you will get a proper number from the government of India that your IP is secured. So it does not take much time to do this. And after filing this, you can go around publishing this. You can write in Facebook, you can write in publish on LinkedIn, or you can discuss it in a conference or a seminar. But it is very important to protect your idea before you go to the public domain. It is important to know this in an early stage, because once you publish an idea, it is no longer patentable. I mean, it is, but there are a lot of terms and conditions for it. You have to ask for grace period. Then you have to see if the danger of anybody else having filed a similar IP before the date of your filing, then it becomes an issue for you later on as an inventor. So it is very important to secure your intellectual property at an early stage. And after that, you get almost 12 months, which is 1 year of time, to come to the complete draft of your invention, to file a complete patent specification, which will have all the details of the drawings of the working of the invention, that how it works, how do we, how does it basically solves the problem which was existing in the earlier solutions. So all of these things will be there in the complete specification. So you will still have time to modify the invention after that. So not securing your intellectual property is the surest way to destroy a startup, because there have been many cases like that. But if you're well aware of your ideas, if you're well aware of its applications, if you're well aware of that your IP is secured, then it will be very smarter of you in the long term to basically grow in your business and to benefit monetarily also from your invention or from your idea. So now patent is not the only way to secure your IP. It depends on what kind of idea you have, what kind of innovation you are doing. If you're working on a product, if you're working even on a slight modification of an already existing product, as I said, even a slight inventive step is eligible for patent protection. But even if your idea is in the form of a business plan, is in the form of an app-based business, or an app-based in some way, maybe you are making a change through an app, or it can be something related to food industry. There is a way to secure the IP in all of these fields, in all of these innovations. But basically, the awareness that I need to secure, there are many ways, many different forms of intellectual property. Like there are copyrights. If you have a software program, if you have a new code which you have written to develop an app, even that is eligible for a copyright protection. And also a non-disclosure analysis. So if you're talking to somebody in order to find some help, in order to find some investment, in order to find somebody who will be benefited from your software program, so you have like something, some collaboration kind of thing going on, it is very important to have a non-disclosure agreement, signed agreement in place before you go and talk to people about your idea. So whatever it is, it might be, or you might want to, or you might not want to secure your file your IP as a patent or a copyright or a similar thing. You might want to keep it a secret. So even that way, there is a form of IP which is suited for you, which is called a trade secret, in which you keep the information as a secret and you secretly register your information. So a lot of recipes like I think Coca-Cola is a very good example of a combination of different types of IPs. Coca-Cola The recipe of Coca-Cola is registered as a trade secret. There are some thousands of patents registered in the for the company, and the design of the bottle, the shape of the bottle is registered as a design patent, and the logo is registered as a trademark. So you can have a combination of intellectual property as well to secure, so that nobody can steal your idea, nobody can copy your idea, nobody else can benefit your idea without you getting benefited in return. So all of these things you ensure only by securing your intellectual property in a better way. And there's not a lot of cost associated with all this, but I think awareness is very important. To be aware of these things is very important, because that is the only way to, as I said, that grow and benefit as well. So that was a brief insight about intellectual property, because it's important to talk about it when we are talking about incubation centers. So I think I will invite questions from your end. If you want to know something specifically about some particular thing, or IP related or patents or anything, you can talk to me and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, any queries? Or if you want to get any idea related to startup, entrepreneur, or IP related process.
So, madam, I am Sridevi. So, I have a query, ma'am. So, basically, we are having a MBA students. So, the MBA students are generally having an intention to become an entrepreneur. They don't want to go for the job, they want to start the business. Already, they are having some family owned business. How I can make them to take over their family businesses in a successful way? Is there any chance to get a loan from bank? That means even this through startups, they may be going some other new innovative way. There somebody having food business, somebody is having a transport business. There are number of students are there with some family background business. So how I can incorporate the students' family business with my department's entrepreneurial idea? Is there any chance, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, sure. There are, as I mentioned in my talk, that there are a lot of guidance in the particular area which you are talking about, that if you have just finished your studies, you don't have any prior experience of running a business, and regardless of whether it is a family business or whether because family businesses are they might be successful also already, they might be already established businesses, or they might be early stage also. So it will all depend on a case to case basis, ma'am, that how do we guide that particular student or that particular entrepreneur. So we can connect them definitely to the right, also depending on the field from where it is coming. So it is very different. It is very difficult to have a common answer to all kinds of because as I said, that the businesses might be different, the ideas might be different, the ideas might be in different fields as well. So businesses also might be in different stages of their growth. So depending on what they are looking for, are they looking for investment, are they looking for just guidance, that whether I should go into this, what will be the correct way to go about it, whether I should go into the business full time, or whether I should pursue my studies also, or pursue my job also, and together I should do it, or if I go into it from where or suppose I want to take it to the next level. So it depends on what kind of guidance they're looking for, or they just are looking for advice or expertise. They are not looking for, they don't know what they're looking for. That is also one stage. so we can basically, so we can connect them to the right people, and we can connect them to the right, they don't even need to join an incubation center or to join a program in order to understand this, or in order to start to run a business, because not everybody can afford to do that. But it is, since they have already like MBA graduates, I think a lot of business aspects they're already aware of. They will just need some guidance from the mentors, or depending on their particular need and requirement. So we can connect them to the right people. I can help you also in this aspect. I can help you with connecting them to the particular company, to the particular startup, or centers, or the particular mentors, or maybe if they're looking for investors. So whatever their need based is, we can mentor them and we can guide them, and maybe then we can think about the next stage. So any particular specific requirement if you're looking for, then you can please reach out to me. Generally also, I can help you with this. Like in general, if there is any guidance required for various students, we can do that. I don't know if I have answered your question specifically. So if it is left, then please let me know.
Ma'am, you answered well. I just wanted to contact you with some through your email.
Yeah, sure. Please do that.
I just give a write-up that what my students are expecting.
Yes, that will be very helpful.
I think it is the best way you can answer for their question.
Yes, sure. That I think that will be a more good way to go about it. Like we can talk to specific concerns and we can solve them one by one, or we can connect them to right people, or we can do that for the students.
Yes,
so there's
sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, this is with respect to that is incubation as well as startup. The prominent universities as well as prominent institutions, they are having very good startup activities as well as incubation, whereas our institution is quite a remote place. So with respect to that remote place, even having a very good infrastructure facilities, as well as having more than 25 years of experience, that is a college have started in having more than 25 years, and we can have other facilities also. But like other sectors, they are not coming down, and I don't think whether we can have that rapport. I think so. There is some barrier to go with the startup as well as with respect to the incubation center. Normally, most of the IT organization or some other organization, they are looking only for the prominent universities as well as institutes only. Why they are not coming down?
Yeah, I think this is
any reference is required to approach for it, or with respect to the students and other facilities, we can have the heterogeneity with respect to the students also. There are bright, those who are ready to take the challenges also.
Yes, sir, you're right. Definitely in some aspects that remote areas, I think the students miss out on a lot of guidance, on a lot of opportunities and a lot of connections. I agree to that. But this is gradually changing now, especially I think talking about COVID-19 also, it was in some way, in a lot of ways, it was a blessing in disguise as well, because a lot of programs have now become online. So one way is to reach out, to be aware, to research about these kind of programs. Like, for example, where I am working, and I am Udaipur Incubation Center, I think most of the mentorship which I am doing I'm doing it online from last two and a half years, I think. So I rarely visit the campus, but I am frequently associated with the institute, with the students, and with everybody. Everything is happening online. So that is one way to go that okay, reach out to all, because all the academic institutes, the research institutes, all these premier institution incubation centers, though they are situated over there, though they are more connected to people in that particular city, but they are open to students from everywhere. So it is just like they will publish advertisements and students will need to apply. There will be a deadline for application. You can apply, and it's just like a short application process. They will be shortlisted based on their write-up. They will be invited to submit the essays, the description of the ideas, the write-ups and all. They will be shortlisted, they will be selected, and there are programs who run online, fully online. They're residential programs as well, and they're online, so they can join the online programs from anywhere, from any part of the city, and they can get benefited. That is one way. Secondly, if I talk in a more broader picture, then I think colleges do definitely need some kind of team, or some kind of I would say a mentor, or maybe starting with one person, but maybe a team of their own, so that they can actually guide the students from that stage to the next stage. So this is, I think, some initiative has also to be taken from the college or from the institution or the university. Please close the door. So some initiative also has to be taken from that particular, because I have seen a lot of private universities and colleges also who are gradually starting their IPR cell maybe, or the incubation cell, and they have a team of people. They have, like, even the IITs, it is only a recent phenomena that all these things are coming up. This IIT Madras also, like, I'm staying in Chennai, so I'm closely associated with IIT Madras IP cell. So they also didn't have a very exhaustive or very proper IP cell. They just started with a team of people, and they started guiding students of there, but slowly, but gradually it grows. So that way also, I think we can keep some department or some IP cell in our own college or university, but also so that at least we can make the students aware that these kind of opportunities are available. The opportunities are there for everyone, but the thing is that we don't have proper access to them. Though everybody is having internet support, internet access, but maybe the students still don't know how to make good use of the internet facility and all that, because it is very easy to reach out to the people just by sitting at wherever you are sitting. So I think geographical boundaries is no longer a problem anymore. Like after the COVID, I think a lot of things is happening online. And also, if somebody is quite serious about pursuing it offline or residential, then they can also travel and go and connect to people. They keep like IIT Bombay, for example, they keep organizing this, what is their program called? Like every February, March, some program is being organized where children from all over the countries, they come and they join the program. But obviously, they have to be aware of when do the application dates are there. So for that purpose, I think if we can have if we have a platform, a small platform also of own college, and so that we can keep posting suitable opportunities, suitable links. We can connect to the right people, or we can keep somebody in the network, so that students can keep getting continuous guidance. So that also might be helpful. And otherwise, as I said, that this incubation center, whatever the programs they organize, they don't reach out to the people. They just advertise it on their website. Maybe it is more accessible information-wise to the people, to the students, or to the people who are staying in that particular geographical location, but they're open to students from everywhere. So we can still connect to those programs which we are not part of, because there is no restriction that only students from this particular college can reach out to us. So that is the requirement when there is a continuous when there is no program going on, then basically they assess students from their own college and from their own university. But they keep continuously advertising these kind of programs. Some are 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We are also right now we are planning to organize a program with the students of Maldives. So in Maldives, there is no there are a lot of innovative young minds, but they don't have any guidance. They don't have proper mentors and all. So we are planning to connect with them. And obviously all of this is happening online. They are not traveling to India, neither we are traveling to Maldives, maybe for a meeting or so, but most of this programs happens online. So I think that way students have to be a little more alert, little more focused, and little more connected to take advantage of all this.
Okay, thank you. Any other queries? If no more queries or any doubt in the sense, we have to come to the concluding part of this session. And thank you, ma'am. And dear participants, already link is shared, feedback link as well as assessment link is shared in the chat box. You have to go through the feedback link as well as assessment. You have to take up the assessment and submit it. And now it's the time to propose the vote of thanks. Now I invite Mrs. Nandini Madam to propose the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Good evening to one and all. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. On that note, it gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks on this occasion. At the outset, I would like to express my gratitude to our director, Dr. Sendil Murugan sir, and principal, Dr. Sundarraj sir, for supporting us in all our efforts. I extend my profound thanks to Dr. G. Pradeep, Dean Academics and IIC President, for taking the initiative and organizing this virtual impact lecture series in a well-organized and effective manner. We are grateful to our speakers of both the sessions for sparing their valuable time for us and gracing this event. On behalf of the institution's Innovation Council of our college, I extend my hearty thanks to Dr. Vijeta Jha, IPR consultant and mentor, for sharing her valuable ideas about fostering the innovation and entrepreneurship. Ma'am, we were able to clearly understand the importance of securing our intellectual property, and we got an idea about how the various business incubators and technology incubators are helping up with the startups. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your experience with us. I would like to thank the directors, heads of various departments, faculty members, and students from home institution and other institutions for their participation and cooperation. I wholeheartedly thank you all for cooperating with us in organizing this virtual impact lecture series in a successful manner. Once again, thanking you all.
Dear participants, a small notification. There will be another series that is Impact Lecture Series 2. Probably this session will be held on 12th July 22. Forenoon session as well as afternoon session. We will send the invitation, other details to the email ID as well as a WhatsApp group. Those who are interested, you may join with the session and give your support. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. My special thanks to Chahun, who is an instrumental for having this session with you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And please reach me out for any kind of assistance related to IP or anything. I'll be happy to help you out.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.